bitch. Oh, excuse you? Baloney wash. I'm annoyed. I'm just here to give my opinion and carry in. Oh, it's Chris Avalon Unfiltered, bitch.
Well, hello everybody. Welcome and happy Tuesday. It's your boy Chris Avalon, and welcome to a brand new episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered, a show we basically get into all things going on in pop culture, hot topics, whatever's trending in these good old streets regarding celebrity news and gossip. We chat about it on this good old show. So, wait, hold on, let me adjust my mic because I realized it wasn't even near my face. So before we get started, can you please do me a solid and hit that like button and that subscribe button, and also smash the notification button if you haven't already. So that way, you know, when we go live, a brand new episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered. And we got a lot of tea to spill today. And some good topics too. We're gonna talk a little Terrifier news. I did a video yesterday. The video was, you know, a hijinky mess in regards to like the internet interference. So I'm gonna probably regurgitate what I said yesterday on top of the latest news regarding, you know, the future of the Terrifier franchise. Plus, we got to talk about this Save Chucky campaign that's been floating around for the past couple of weeks. Plus, we have tea on Megan Thee Stallion, 50 Cent. Of course, we got to talk about the latest Diddy news. I was so ready to just put it to bed until the trial began, but of course, more accusations came out, so we got to talk about it. Plus, Bow Wow was under fire for yet again sticking his damn foot in his mouth. But how is that different than any other day when he gets the yapping? Plus, we got to talk. We got some Azealia Banks news. She's in the news twice. First, she tried to come for Julia Fox. Julia Fox held her own against that trash box. And then this heifer had the nerve to come up against Madonna and was trying to basically go against like her legacy, even calling Vogue trash, said a whole bunch of other stuff. So we're gonna get into that. And the fans went in on her. So we'll talk about it. Plus, Lipo Lee, aka Jason Lee, is out here trying to act like Jay-Z and Beyonce. People reached out to him in regards to the Diddy stuff. So we'll talk about that. Plus, we got some drag race news, a lot of drag race news, actually. So we have a former drag race star was slammed by the queens of drag race because they came out as an endorser of Donald Trump. Michelle Visage is opening up about her marriage, saying that the marriage is open, not the library, honey, but the marriage is open. So we're gonna talk about that. Which I didn't even know her marriage was open. Plus, we have tea on Bob the Drag Queen and Monét Exchange finally addressed the Shangela sexual assault rumors. Well, not rumors, but allegations that came out. So they actually spoke about it. They did it on their sibling rivalry podcast. So I have that clip. We'll talk about that. Plus, there's an up-and-coming actor who threw his hat in the ring in regards of replacing Joaquin Phoenix in this Todd Haynes gay romance movie that he was supposed to come out with, but Joaquin, you know, days before they were supposed to start shooting, he bailed from making the movie. So it's not happening, as we know, but there's an actor who threw his hat in the ring and he is up and coming. He was just recently in a movie that was on HBO Max. So we'll talk about it a whole lot more. I'm like, why is this coffee not coming into this straw? It's probably a janky straw. But anyway, so we have that and a whole lot more. And if anything else that pops up during the show, y'all can definitely let me know in the comments, any breaking news, things of that nature. So yeah, so if you haven't already, please hit that like button and the subscribe button. Also smash the notification button. So that way, you know, when we go live before, you know, with a brand new episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered. So let me hit my banner. Without further ado, let's get into these topics. I'm going to hit a couple of lighthearted topics before we get to the heavy Diddy stuff and the Madonna, you know, that's what I like to call her, Madonna stuff. But let's get to Damien Leone. So yesterday, I did talk a bit about Terrifier 3, but the video that I was going to cut up and put up and stuff, the internet was not my friend yesterday. Apparently, it wasn't just me, because it was a lot of people that was having internet interference and stuff going on. I think it was a lot of gusty winds and things of that nature. But nevertheless, enough of my woes. Let's get into the topic. So, Terrifier 3 had reason to celebrate. It was the first movie to go #1 at the box office. It actually, you know, went clown to clown, or clown versus clown, you know, up against Joker 2. Foley I Do, and Foley I Do continued to flop at the box office. Excuse me. It had an 81% drop in its second week. Terrifier 2 took the #1 spot, bringing in $20 million. Now, this is in 4 days, because I didn't calculate what happened yesterday. So Monday, because it was a holiday, 4-day weekend, it brought in a little over $20 million on a $2 million budget. And their what do you call it? The promotional amount of money that they used was $500,000. So That's pretty good for a small little film that's budget is $2 million and you're bringing in $20 million to a bunch of producers, which is like very limited amount of money. And Damien Leone is someone who's very creative in regards of how he creates his movies, especially with the practical effects and things of that nature. So a lot of people was up in here living for Art the Clown, including myself. I went Thursday night, as for those of you who follow the show, you already know I gave my little review. I didn't do a full spoiler review, but I gave a little first assessment review because I want to give everybody a chance to see the movie. So, overall, I thoroughly enjoyed the film. Like I said before, I wanted a little more backstory in regards. We got a little more backstory in regards of Sienna, things of that nature, but I wanted a little more in regards of Art. I wanted to know more about, I just wanted to know a little bit more lore. Yeah, the gore and stuff, the kills and everything were pretty gnarly. I was pretty much impressed with a lot of the homages, to Psycho and Black Christmas and Silent Night, Deadly Night, and all those films that he clearly was inspired by to make this film. And then the makeup jobs and everything was on point. So I thoroughly enjoyed the movie. I just, like I said, oh, I just realized that my other channel was open, so I had to close that. Overall, I enjoyed the film. Like I said, I feel like I pretty much liked Terrifier 2 more. And I think it was because even though a lot of people complained that it was longer, I felt like I got more out of the franchise with the backstory and getting to know the characters and really feeling for before Art took them out, versus in this film where you could definitely feel that there were pieces missing from this movie. As it was, I feel like that people were on him in regards of like, okay, you got to edit it down. So I do believe that Damien Leone implied that there may be an extended version that will be coming out, and I'm fingers crossed that actually happens. But he recently did an interview with Variety, if I'm not mistaken, and yeah, it was Variety. And he basically gave a little insight in when he believes his Terrifier saga will come to an end. Because quite honestly, as someone who likes this franchise and someone who likes digging into more of the lore, and I feel like they're going to go a little more supernatural with the next one because he did tease an epic battle. Like, I really feel like if you saw the movie, spoiler alert, her cousin ends up getting sucked into the floor and taken to this other dimension, all other stuff, because, Vicky, when her head was cut off by Sienna, it melted a hole into the ground and opened up this portal or whatever that her cousin got sucked into. And her cousin has the sword. So then we also saw that Sienna could regenerate. So, because like when her hands got smashed by Art, and I did cackle a lot whenever he would walk past her and smack her upside the head. That part actually was pretty funny. But when we saw her hands, regenerate, and then when he smashed her hands up so that way she could open that gift, that turned out to be the sword that she did put behind the tree for Christmas, just to have it in case she knew that Art was going to come get her around that time. Her hands immediately came back to form. They weren't smashed up anymore. The hands, when they got cut by the knife, regenerated. So there's some sort of power and connection, obviously, with this sword that we have, that of course now the cousin has in this world. So I do feel like in part 4 we're going to get more of her going in, and of course he could demand more money with this because the movie was so successful, but not too much where it's just going to go completely overboard and then fans will just all of a sudden be like, okay, I'm not liking the franchise anymore. So I do feel like it's going to take us to this world where it's like it's going to go more supernatural, probably take more of an Evil Dead approach, as in Army of Darkness. I could feel them kind of going in that direction, and I hope that we get more backstory in regards of Art the Clown and his strengths and weaknesses and how, his power source and all that other stuff. So I really hope that they dig into that. But nevertheless, of my gripes with the film and my likes and dislikes, Damien did say this. He said the following. He said, there is no definitive answer at this time regarding how many more films I will make before concluding the Terrifier saga. Personally, I can't see it going further than 1 or 2 more films, but only time will tell. For now, I can say that with certainty that I know how it ends and it will be epic. So, as I stated before, Terrifier 3 slashed its way to #1 in North America over the weekend, earning $18.3 million in its debut. The third film sees David Howard Thornton return as a diabolical Art the Clown, who desecrates bodies left and right during the Christmas season. Terrifier has received positive reactions from both critics and audiences, scoring a B on CinemaScore and 76% on Rotten Tomatoes to date. Variety's chief film critic Owen Gleiberman wrote this review. I remember when Owen Gleiberman used to write for Entertainment Weekly. That's how far back I go with that man and his name. But anyway, So it says Terrifier 3 put the E in extreme, and it has an ace gimmick, one that simultaneously winks at and fulfills franchise expectations. It sets up Art the Clown as a fake Santa Claus who unleashes his mayhem on Christmas time. And so, yeah, I know a lot of people were feeling a way about a lot of the kills in the film, especially regarding kids getting killed in the film. What I did like about kids being killed off is that, you know what, the thing with Art is an equal opportunity offender. He's not going to be like Michael Myers, even though Michael did technically kill a kid in Halloween, David Gordon Green's Halloween, and or Jason or one of those people, and then just like, oh, we don't kill kids. Like, he's got a moral code all of a sudden because that goes against, I guess, the MPAA or whatever. Art the Clown don't give a damn. He is a demon. He kills whoever gets in his way. He doesn't care. He kills little kids. He killed quite a few of them in this movie. So I actually like the idea that, well, one of the things I don't want to see kids get killed. So I like the fact that a lot of it was done off screen. I definitely had a mouth gaping moment when during the scene in the mall. If you know, you know. And things of that sort. So a lot of the kills, yeah, they were gnarly, they were a little extreme. The one that really rubbed me the wrong way was with the aunt when she had the glass shoved in her mouth, and then had the mice shoved in, and then the mice go down her throat, and then they cut her throat open, and the mice come spilling out. That was a bit much. I was like, okay, that's a bit, sadistic. I don't know. It's a little, but Damien Leone, his brain works, the way it works, and I like what he has so far, but like I said, I hope that he doesn't end up being the type of guy that's going to be doing Terrifier films the rest of his life, because I know, like, even though that's the film that made you a superstar and that made you famous and put you on the map, I don't think that he wants this to be the sole defining thing, that he wants to be just making Terrifier movies for the rest of his life. So I'm sure he probably has one or maybe two movies left in him. And I honestly, based off of what we've seen so far, I can't see them doing like what you see like with Friday the 13th and all those other, so where you're making 10 parts or something or another. I do feel like everything that has a beginning has an end. And I understand it's Hollywood, and Hollywood is in the business of making money. And as long as it sells and as long as it makes money, that we should be able to just make as many as we go along. But then again, when it comes to sequels and things of that nature, you don't want to overstay your welcome, unless you could find a way, like the Saw franchise, and find a way to breathe new life into the franchise. Although I do feel like the people over at Saw made a huge mistake by giving Jigsaw terminal cancer. John, who created the whole Jigsaw situation, terminal cancer. And then y'all could have did some shit where he could have came in remission. But y'all messed that up. And so you pretty much backed yourself into a corner, and then you try to bring all these other side characters in who weren't as memorable or as entertaining as John. Now, don't get me wrong, I love Amanda, and she was definitely a good assistant to John and all the things that he was doing. But I just didn't care for all the other characters y'all were trying to bring in to be these new villains, because y'all realized that y'all backed yourself into a corner and you shot yourself in the foot, or whatever phrase you want to use. So, but they figured out ways of trying to make these sidequels and whatever, these in-between films. But I don't know how long y'all gonna keep that shtick up. It's the same thing with Terrifier. As long as, I guess, Damien has enough ways of building the lore and telling the stories, I'm sure there could be other things that he can create. But if he could also do something similar to like, the Conjuring universe, where you can create other characters within characters, so that way if we kind of get bored with Art the Clown, there's no more of his story to tell, that you could have other characters that you bring into this world, maybe more other demons similar to Art the Clown, or even more terrifying, kind of like a Cenobite-ish type of situation, where you can create all these other characters and and then create stories around them, versus just solely relying on Art the Clown. Because I do feel like after a while, the Art the Clown vibe is going to go a little stale. So I definitely just see maybe one or two more movies being out of this before people get tired. Because I'm not somebody who wants to just sit around watching, a rinse and repeat type of slasher. That kind of gets boring for me. So he did tease, to get up off this, we had like the iconic, inspiring Psycho tribute. If you know, you know. But he also said it will, and they talk about the next movie. It will certainly be an epic showdown, an epic closure to the Art of Clown saga. The idea I'm toying with in my head will probably be, in some regards, the most experimental, so I can't dive into it too much. Some really, really crazy thing will happen in the next one. So Yeah, I'm definitely curious to see where he's gonna go with the story and what he plans to bring to the franchise in regards of, you know, Art the Clown of this and things of that nature. So I'm pretty much excited to see what Damien Leone has in store for the next film. In the meantime, my question is for you guys: have you seen the new Terrifier 3? Or if it's not your zhuzh, whatever. But if you saw the film, what were your overall thoughts? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Is this not your cup of tea? Is the gore and stuff a little too much for you? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below. Oh my God, I just realized that I closed one of my topics. So now I got to search for it real quick. I was meaning to back out of something and then, okay, well, I got it now. It was a Chucky story. I was like, that's gonna be my next topic that I go into. So I got to have it. Let's go to the comments. Um, that Robert says, I read Damien wants you to use your imagination to make your own lore on art, saying some things are best let for the viewers to interpret. Well, I did I did actually like the idea of leaving things up to interpretation. It's basically the same situation of like the opening sequence when he's murdering the kid. And it's sort of like we don't see it, but we hear it. And to me, I actually like those type of kills. So I want my imagination in certain situations to run wild. Everything doesn't have to be explained or shown. But if he wants us to pretty much use our imagination and stuff with art, it's like, okay, but I want to Okay, well, it looks like we're back. I don't know what the hell's been going on. It's like my internet just keeps going crazy. But anyway, we're back. I had to like reboot my whole modem and everything. I'm about to cuss out these people over at Verizon because this is the second time during this damn stream, and it's been a minute since it did that. They used to do that when I had the old show, when it was some drama. But now it's like I don't know. But we're back. But the good thing is, at least I got to get through that Terrifier 3 segment before I started acting up. I did not want to repeat it yesterday. But anyway, what else you said? But yeah, I don't know if you even got through if I answered this question, but I answer it again. But you said you hear the chainsaw death makes Leatherface look tame. Well, yeah, compared to I don't care about the other Leatherface movies because I've always thought the other Texas Chainsaw Massacres outside of the original is terrible. I did see that they posted a 50th anniversary version of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre on one of the streaming services. If I'm not mistaken, I think it's HBO Max or one of them. I have to look it up, but I thought they had the 50th anniversary. I said, "Oh, I think I might want to watch this because I want to see if there's any like what is it like? Y'all probably zhuzhed it up in regards of the what do you call it? Like the HD or whatever the case is. I don't know. So I was like, okay, well, so what's the difference? Y'all doing a 50th anniversary edition? Like, is it the original print? Like, I want to know what it is. So I don't know. I have to check that out. But yeah, the kills there with the chainsaw, I was like. Yeah, it was pretty gnarly with a lot of the cutting up with the chainsaw and the one of the scenes where he goes to pull the boy's leg and you know he tries to get away and he falls on the cut leg with the chainsaw and then the leg basically snaps and it was like oh my god and then Art tries to grab that broken leg and the leg comes off and it was just the scene was just I was like oh my god do I want to sit here and witness this shit go down even though it's fake as all get out it's like why am I sitting here watching this? But that's what we get when we like our horror films. You said, do you agree? Well, yeah, I explained what happened to the show. It's like internet issues. Hopefully, we won't have any more during the show because, you know, I don't know what's going on with this internet. Maybe I have to move the modem closer to the damn thing. Yeah, it definitely is interneting today. But you said, do you agree with Shawn Mendes that the interview article is him? He might be, but I don't know. This interview was just weird. I don't know if y'all seen the pictures of him in Interview Magazine, but it did feel a little. It felt sexual in the way, like in some of the photos. Like, look, like he's literally sitting here with his legs spread in a pair of boxers. Like we all know what that move means. If you've been around enough boys, you know. This is a lot of these pictures border on the sexual. Like I don't understand the point of the video camera and him shirtless with his pants open. I don't see the point of that. I mean, yeah, he is good looking and is good to look at, but I feel like y'all trying to sexualize him because yeah, he's a good looking guy. He's tall. You know, he's got somebody messing up his hair or whatever the case is. But I just don't see the point of it. And then he got the old big old pretty feet. He's got a very much you know, if he ever decides to like quit singing, he could be a model. He's definitely tall enough and he's got model good looks. But the reality of it all is, yeah, I just feel like he's over the industry. Somebody he won't let the industry destroy him, tame him, define him, whatever. I was like, okay, well, yeah, that's great, but you got to deliver on the music department. And I think the reality with Shawn Mendes is he's boring. Like his music is boring. Nobody cares about what he's doing. There was rumors that the reason why he moved his album is not a cage sub. He was like, the reason why he delayed the album is because he needs to put more songs on it and he needs inspiration. I mean, that is true tea because the songs he released, nobody cared. He had that big push at the VMAs. Nobody cared. The performance was boring. It wasn't a standout. I mean, I can't even think, to be honest, what were the standout points of the VMAs? I think maybe it was Chappell Roan's performance and maybe Sabrina Carpenter's performance. And then I honestly, who else performed that night? See, this is what I said about the VMAs. They're so not memorable anymore. Nobody cares. So But then when he got up there and performed, and he was strumming his guitar, and then he hugged his bandmates and all this other stuff. I was like, nobody cared. But at least Phineas stepped his pussy up and kissed one of his male guitarists, whatever, on stage when he's been performing in New York this week. It's funny enough, Phineas got a new album out. He's performing places. His sister's about to take over Madison Square Garden for 3 days, tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday. I'm working those shows. So, the Eilish family is definitely doing what needs to be done in regards to the music and things of that nature. But in regards of Shawn Mendes, it's just sort of like, okay, if he wants to just no longer appease the mainstream, if he wants to just be some regular guy strumming his guitar and singing away his problems in some little cafe, then go ahead and do that. If you want to just do small little theaters, then go ahead and do that. If arenas is not for you, it's not for you. But for the most part, I just never found the appeal of Shawn Mendes. Yes, he's good looking. Yes, they try to prop him up as being Camila Cabello's boyfriend. Nah, I never bought it. Like, I ain't buy her music either. So they were trying to use each other to prop them up to be like this sort of it couple, like a Jay-Z and Beyonce of pop. And it was like, nobody cared. Nobody cared about either one of their music. Nobody cared about them as a couple. Or maybe some of y'all did, but I didn't. And it's just like, okay, so he's a good looking guy, but what are you bringing to the table? And I feel like, no shade, but I feel like a lot of male artists, a lot of y'all are boring. Like, y'all, none of y'all are getting what needs to be done. Usher's boring. Justin Timberlake's boring. Okay, the only one that's giving a little something is Troye Sivan, and that's because he's a homosexual, but at least he's out of the closet, unlike some of these other ones. It's funny, you said when the music isn't given, they quit. At that part, exactly, because that's what exactly that shoot was giving. And then he's sitting there having a conversation with John Mayer, which I totally get because they kind of complement each other musically. Like, a lot of the music is kind of one and the same. But to be honest, I could care less, but I didn't even care about John Mayer when he was popping. Your Body is a Wonderland. That was the only song I knew, and it's because it was all over the damn MTV. And then when he referred to his ex Jessica Simpson as sexual napalm, that's the only, and the fact that Andy Cohen is Good Judy. So that's the only thing I knew about those two. I mean, about John Mayer. But other than that, I never checked for him either. I wasn't really into like that whole soft rock type stuff. You know, I live on the edge of glory. I wasn't even thinking about Lady Gaga when I said that, but it was like all of a sudden I went there, so I had to go there. But it was like, yeah, I was never really into like the soft rock stuff. I was never really into like the Dave Matthews and all that other stuff. Like, I was more or less, I need a little edge. Like, I was more or less about Nirvana. I did go through my grunge phase. I also, and then it was just like mostly a lot of dance music, electro pop, like more that, so club music, going to the raves. Like, that was more or less my thing. So the harder the music I was listening to like Linkin Park, Foo Fighters, that sort of thing. Like I said, Nirvana, I never heard of these guys, and they're selling out Madison Square Garden. Well, no, I ain't say Shawn Mendes was selling out Madison Square Garden, but Billie Eilish definitely is. She's up there with like Taylor Swift. Like, they're on the same level of making music. Yeah, Tay-Tay is getting more of the attention, but Billie Eilish is definitely mainstream. And I get because I'm like 3 nights. I wasn't expecting. I could expect maybe 1 or 2, but I wasn't expecting 3 nights. And you said a lovely sun going down in press. I said the shade thrown at Dula Pete, but at least Sabrina knows herself. I'm like, the press is chill by. Anybody thinking that? Well, you know what? Because they were saying another thing that Dula Lipa, for those who don't know, but Dula Pete. Apparently, they say she's boring. Well, everybody don't need to be, cutting their arm, they slitting their wrists and bleeding all over the damn stage for y'all to know a little bit about their personality. If you just want to be a regular schmegular person that just gives us bops and good choreography and fierce costumes, then go ahead and do that. Like, Kylie Minogue has been doing that for 3 decades of her damn career. We don't know a lot about what goes on in her personal life. I mean, maybe we know things like who she's dating, and the cancer situation. But other than that, Kylie Minogue is someone who doesn't spill all her personal business, but we like her because she delivers in the pop department. She delivers the bops. But in Dula Pete, yeah, she's cute. And she's tall, and she definitely stepped it up in regards to the choreography and things. But in regards to everything else, it's just like, yeah, the personality is boring. But if the personality is not there, then yeah, you got to deliver on the other stuff, which is you need to step it up in other places. Sabrina Carpenter, to me, always looks uncomfortable when she's up there on that stage trying to be sexy. And it's because nobody was checking for them 5 previous albums. But yeah, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, album 6 is what's catapulted her to the career that she has today. And it's all because she opened for Miss Taylor Swift. I also saw a video that Bill Maher was trying to come for Chaperone, talking about that, oh, well, because of her beliefs in Palestine. First of all, Bill Maher to go sit his old tired, wrinkly ass down somewhere. I can't stand him. Once upon a time, I used to like him. Then he got a little radicalized and out of his damn mind with stuff. And it's like, if you don't go sit your Zionist ass down somewhere, I can't stand that old troll. But an unfunny ass, because he ain't funny. And he couldn't hack it as an actor. That's why he had to jump back into being a comedian and doing politically correct and all that other mess, politically incorrect, and doing his political talk shows. Because he couldn't hack it as an actor. Then he said, oh, they would throw her off a roof. And I'm so sick of y'all with that lazy read in regards to if you say something, if you are pro-Palestine and you say that it is wrong what's happening over there, then all of a sudden you want to use that point of, oh, well, they would kill you if they knew what your whole situation was, that if you're a lesbian and, you know, being a woman and she's gay. That's always y'all talking point. It's the same thing like I always say when y'all want to jump to when y'all talk about, oh, when we want to be pro-Palestine. Oh, but if you're a homosexual, they kill you in a heartbeat. Okay, and you don't think there's faggots that exist over in Palestine either? Like you think that it's just heterosexuals over there? Like stop it. But it's just lazy reads that y'all be trying to come out with when it comes to that. You know, I had to use the F word to make a point. I don't just be saying stuff, just be saying it. Anyway, I don't know what I'm so irritated because this damn straw is not letting me drink my coffee. You said Usher and Justin Bieber's best performance. I'm moving on from that. Dua Lipa is a pretty face with no personality, and that's okay. Quiet as it's kept. Because it's like, yeah, Katy Perry gave us a whole career being vapid. And all of a sudden, y'all want to draw the line with Dua Lipa? Like, get out of here. What's your take on the Diddy thing? Do you believe all the Well, I'll definitely let you know what my overall thoughts on it when I get to this next topic. Well, when I get to the topic about the new allegations that came out, that more people came forward, including some men coming out and saying that he did some stuff, including some underage boys. Well, they were underage at the time. I'm not sure if, because I got the full Rolling Stone article that will just go through it like a fine-tooth comb. But if I was to say what my overall situation is, I do believe a lot of the allegations because, excuse me, I've always said Diddy was the damn devil. You know, all the years that the things I've heard and things about him was like, I knew it was coming. It was only a matter of time. Apparently, Bow Wow was blinded. He had no idea this would ever happen because him and Jermaine Dupri were having a whole conversation about it. Oh, he spilled all the tea, and we'll get to the clip when that comes up later on in the show. I remember when Sabrina was nothing but Olivia Rodrigo's arch nemesis who had a flop acting career. Wait, was Girl Meets World a flop? I mean, some people liked it. Well, you know, I was a Boy Meets World fan because that's my generation. Shout out to Corey and Topanga. So that's my generation, was Boy Meets World because, you know, I wanted to be, when I was growing up, I wanted to be Sean. I wanted to be Corey's best friend when I was a kid. I actually remember the day that Boy Meets World aired. I was in summer camp, and I remember setting the timer on my parents' VCR so that way I could watch Boy Meets World, the pilot. Because I was like, oh, I want to see the show. And, you know, I was a TGIF kid. Like, I watched everything that was on TGIF. I watched Full House. I watched, what else were the other shows on there? It was Full House. Hanging Mr. Cooper was on there at one point, too. Then I remember they moved it to Tuesdays, which I don't understand why. Then they put Raven Simone on there at one point. That was like years later, or seasons later. And it was like they had Full House, they had Family Matters, Step by Step, which was another show I loved. Step by Step was kind of corny until they brought Cody on. Cody was the savior of that show, just like, no shade. And I know people get mad about it, but Jaleel White, Urkel, he saved Family Matters because that show was not funny until he came on. Then they hit the jackpot. So it was like, so yeah, I was definitely a TGIF kid, but I'm like, well, damn, you said Sabrina was nothing but Olivia Rodrigo's art nemesis. And I forgot that Olivia Rodrigo started out in, she was acting and then did the music and all this stuff. So she's been around. Not their best performance, because you still talking about Justin Bieber and Usher. But anyway, speaking of the gays and things of that nature, because we talking about Justin Bieber and Usher, and they said Justin Bieber in hiding, like dealing with his mental health because of all these Diddy allegations that he going through it behind the scenes. Let's get into some Chucky news. So apparently, a lot of y'all seem to think that this whole Save Chucky campaign is going to save the series. But where was y'all when the show was airing and it was only bringing in 200,000 damn views a week? And you think through 200,000 people watching an expensive show on a cable channel is enough to save it? Not in this day and age. So horror fans, are taking their fight to social media, with Don Mancini and Jennifer Tilly responding to the I shouldn't say Save Chucky, it's hashtag Save Chucky. And I'm sure it's probably still going on. And I was like, you know what? I love y'all, but save your breath, because I don't even think that your hashtags and your Save Chucky pleas are going to work. But let's entertain it. So shout out to Bloody Disgusting for this story. So it will be just 2 weeks ago that we learned about the cancellation of Don Mancini's Chucky, a fan favorite series that had been airing for the past, it's 3 years, on both USA and Sci-Fi. The networks jointly aired their seasons of the popular horror series before the plug was pulled. And don't forget also, it appeared on Peacock at one point. And then I remember like months later, they would drop all the episodes on Shudder. But apparently it was just like people just didn't care. But they said, but then the fans, took to social media to make their voices heard. The hashtag Save Chucky campaign has been going strong on social media for the past couple of weeks, driven by fans and various fan accounts dedicated to the franchise. The hashtag has even made its way to Twitter's trending tab a few times, and I have seen that whenever I would go on Twitter, I would definitely see hashtag Save Chucky up there, or hashtag Chucky. So how likely is it to make a difference? Well, that's impossible to say, but a precedent has been set for canceled shows to be brought back to life due to fan demand, with Brooklyn Nine-Nine being a notable recent example of the trend. The series was canceled by Fox back in 2018 and was shortly thereafter picked up by NBC, where it ran for 3 additional seasons. Also, let's not forget about Lucifer. Lucifer was another show that a lot of people paid dust to, the networks, and didn't really promote it, all this other stuff. It didn't do that. It wasn't that big in the ratings, but it had a huge following. And then when Fox canceled it, Netflix picked it up, and I believe gave it 2 seasons, which shocked me, because Netflix be the first ones to want to cancel some show if it don't do well on their damn network or their streaming service, which always irritates me about Netflix, and why a lot of times when Netflix drops an original series or whatever, I'm not quick to jump on it, because I be side-eyeing y'all. I be like, well, I don't know if it's even worth investing in, because y'all don't invest in a lot of the shows that y'all put up there. So I'll watch the imports from other countries that y'all get on Netflix before I even watch an original show. I'll wait and see, like, okay, so if it gets a second season or whatever the case is, then I'll invest. But season 1, because y'all really have not given us viewers, fans, whatever you want to call us, the wherewithal to even want to invest in your product, because you don't invest in us. But y'all be quick to want to raise y'all damn prices on some stuff. But that was about, but my overall complaints of Netflix aside, let's get back to the story. So they said that the hashtag Save Chucky campaign comes in the wake of the hashtag Renew Chucky campaign that had become popular on social media, while we all waited to find out if Universal would be bringing the show back for a 4th season. And the hope now was that either Universal would decide to reverse their decision, or a different network / streamer will swoop in and pick Chucky up. The latter option would seem to be the more likely possibility, with series star Fiona Dourif, daughter of Brad Dourif, who, is the voice of Chucky, by the way, recently suggesting at TerraCon in Marlborough, Massachusetts, that it's certainly on the table, and said the following. She said, "I've been on the phone with Don. It was a surprise that we got canceled," Fiona told the crowd. "At this point, we're going to do an what should be done and would be normal for a show as successful as Chucky's been, because the ratings were solidly good and reviewed extremely well. The numbers were great at Peacock. Is that it would be marketed to other networks. The extent of there could be pressure on the powers that be to have that happen. I think that everybody who's involved in making the show would appreciate that. So there's no reason on earth why it shouldn't be marketed to other networks. And also, I should say that Damien also took to Twitter in wake of the cancellation news to assure his killer doll will eventually return, and said he simply tweeted he'll be back. And Jennifer Tilly even tweeted, resurrections are Chucky's specialties and he has many of them. So, yeah, I do believe that we're gonna see Chucky again, but I don't think the show is coming back. I do feel that it will be resurrected on the big screen. Now, in regards of if the characters that we've seen in the Chucky series will be transferred over to the next movie that Don Mancini plans to put together, that remains to be seen. I would definitely love to see some of the characters from the Chucky series make its way over to a movie form or whatever the case is. As far as the show goes, I would say, like, yeah, the future is that, yeah, you could outsource it to another streaming service, to Peacock. Quiet as it's kept, Peacock could use an endorsement. They could use a little help of it. They have some pretty good shows and stuff over there, but the most part, a lot of people really aren't checking for Peacock like they are Hulu and Prime Video and Netflix. These are the ones, and even Apple TV. Like, those are the top of the food chain. Now, in regards of like Peacock, a lot of y'all are small fry. If they would just outsource it to maybe Netflix, or maybe outsource it to possibly, Shudder or one of those other channels, if they would allow them to help, like, come in and throw a little money their way to help produce it and that sort of thing, then maybe it would help. But a lot of y'all have to realize that, when the ratings aren't what they are, and now this new generation, they don't even care about, Nielsen ratings and cable and stuff. A lot of these kids are watching their shows on streaming services. Just like Cheryl Lee Ralph was just on The View, promoting Abbott Elementary. And she's talking to them like, oh yeah, y'all can watch it on 9:30 on ABC. They were like, no, we're gonna watch it on Hulu. And it's like, yeah, kids these days don't know nothing about TV and where to find, like, turn on the cable box and try to find out what time they show was coming on and watch it on the DVR like we did when we were growing up. This new generation is like, I'm gonna just pop on the Hulu, I'm gonna pop on the Paramount Plus. Paramount Plus is kind of floundering right now, so we're going to take them out today. But, the Netflix and all these other streaming services, they're popping it on to watch their favorite shows. They don't know nothing about regular television. That's why a lot of these shows that are on regular TV are going over and doing the streaming service thing. Now, I do agree that there's way too many streaming services out here, and we shouldn't even have all these streaming services. We're oversaturated, and people are already looking at it like, well, damn, y'all are no different than cable. Because when you tally up all the money and the prices and how much all this is going to cost collectively, I'm paying just as much, if not more, for streaming services, a bunch of them, versus just having cable and just keeping that. So some of y'all need to kind of outsource yourselves to the stronger networks that actually streaming services that a lot of people are keeping, like the Netflix, the Hulu, the Prime Video, and Apple TV and that sort of thing. I'm ashamed to tell y'all how many streaming services I've subscribed to, because this is a lot. I have serious FOMO. I'm someone that suffers from serious FOMO. Like, I have to own all the streaming services. Otherwise, I feel like I'm missing out on certain shows. So I'm one of those that pays pretty much for all the streaming services at this point. So as much as I like Chucky, and I will say this, I was disappointed relatively in season 3. Like, the first season I thought was great. Season 2, I was I had a love-hate relationship with it, but I thugged it out. I was like, let me just power through it. Season 3, y'all lost me after the first 2 episodes, 2, maybe 3 episodes. I was done. I was just like, I don't care anymore. And then on top of that, it was just like, the pandemic happened, the writer's strike happened. Well, I don't think it was the pandemic. It was the writer's strike. So it was the actor strike and the writer's strike. They only filmed half the season. Then we had to wait months for the second half. It kind of took me out. And it's like, in this day and age, you got to You gotta have people's undivided attention, otherwise you're gonna lose us. And I feel like that because of the writer strike and the actor strike, they suffered because of, season 3 suffered and probably brought in the cancellation. But then again, I feel like y'all should have outsourced it to other, or given people other ways to watch the show, because not a lot of people have cable. Like myself, I don't have cable. The only way I watch a lot of shows is via the streaming service. And yeah, if you're not a subscriber of Peacock, you wasn't watching it. So I say all this to say, what do y'all think of this story? Do y'all think that they have a chance, this hashtag Save Chucky has a chance of being saved and revived for the streaming services? Me personally, I don't see it happening. If it does, kudos to y'all. And I'll check out the show and see if it's improved, because I'm a Chucky fan. But I want to know your thoughts in the comments down below. And Felix says, there are shows that have been brought back by fans. Drop Dead Diva was one. Then the recent version of One Day at a Time got another season because of fans, but they aired it on a random net. That's another thing, too. If you're not going to support and help the show, then people aren't going to be around to support it. Especially if you're going to save a show called One Day at a Time and throw it on some janky channel that I don't even know where the hell to find it on my TV, then how does it get saved? It's like you deliberately, and I feel like they do this sometimes on networks. Why even give the push? Why even greenlight a show if you're not going to put your energy behind promoting it? And to me, I always look at it as like it's racism, and depending on the type of situation, it's homophobia, because it's like when I'll use, for example, New York Undercover. New York Undercover was definitely a show that I loved as growing up. I even got to be on the show back in the day. The episode where they killed old Eddie and Michael Imperioli was on. It was like that exact episode. So I wasn't on the show. I was behind the scenes. Like I had to go to the set. My high school teacher, who was an actress, was friends with the people that worked on the show. So a lot of us, we got to go hang out on the set. Got to meet Lauren Velez. Got to meet Jonathan LaPoli, who kept staring at me for some reason. I'm like, well, damn, I know I'm cute, but bitch, why are you staring at me? I mean, I wouldn't mind an older white man looking at me, but I was a kid then, so you shouldn't have been looking at me sexually if that's what that was. But and then my teacher, funny enough, what was it? Michael Imperioli recognized my teacher because he was a Taxi Driver fan and she was in that movie. So I was like, well, damn, let me find out you was that hardcore of a Scorsese fan that you recognized my high school teacher in your movie. Or in that movie, being on the set of the show, because it was kind of like a blink. Well, it was in the opening sequence, the hooker with the blonde hair. That was actually my high school teacher, Copper Cunningham. So, she went and what was it? Oh, so what was I going to say? Oh, so watching. So with that, and then the overall point that I was trying to get to is that she when they were talking about New York Undercover, they didn't get any promotion in regards to Fox. Like they said, they didn't have posters or advertisements that were advertising the show. Everybody else had their billboards and all this other stuff, but New York Undercover, especially seeing a show where you had a woman as a captain and 2 men of color as your lead police officers in New York City, like that was iconic for a lot of us who never saw that. And then plus, like it being put to like a hip hop and R&B soundtrack, like when you had Natalie's and they were pushing artists like Notorious B.I.G. and Mary J. Blige and some of these other artists that were on the come up. It was definitely a great time in New York in the 90s. And the way that show was just kind of discarded, and then the fact that they kept trying to push this narrative, we need to diversify the cast, meaning they wanted more white people on there to appeal to a certain audience. And it's like, y'all, you create these platforms for people of color for us to have our own show, our own voice, to see ourselves in ways that we ain't never seen ourselves before, but then y'all don't push it, but then y'all want the white people coming in because you're trying to pull that audience over there. The white people, if they want to see a show with that nature, they'll come and watch it. I'm sure there were some that did, but I just always hated the way that a lot of networks would go about doing those shows. And I kind of feel like this with Chucky, or maybe we can't necessarily put the whole possibly homophobia or whatever, because it was a lot of queer stuff in the show. That I don't think that's what it was. I just think that it just got silly. So that's why I bailed on Chucky. It just got ridiculous. Why was that Chuck show low-key sexy as fuck? Devin Sawa. Well, first of all, I've always had a crush on Devin Sawa. But yeah, man, him being on that show, I was like, you could sit on my face, child. I think I saw a recent tweet from him that said he'd be down for playing Freddy Krueger. I was like, I could definitely see him doing that. He's got that groveling, deep voice. So I could definitely see him playing that part. And people need to be open to the fact of other people coming in to play iconic characters. Because no shade, and even Robert Englund has said this. First of all, he's too old to play Freddy Krueger. He said that basically with the stunts, he was only able to do like maybe one take. Like he's not going to be able to do the physical stuff that he was able to do 40 years ago. Because hello, I Hate to Burst Your Bubble, but the original A Nightmare on Elm Street came out 40 years ago. So there's no way he's going to be able to do the stuff required for him to play Freddy Krueger. And here's the thing. I did not mind Jackie Earle Haley playing Freddy in the remake. It just wasn't a good movie. But I'd be down to see like somebody else come in and step in and play Freddy Krueger. I'm not saying you got to do what Robert Englund did. We don't need carbon copies. But you got to be able to... if you're going to reboot stuff, you got to allow other people to come in and just do their own thing. Felix is like, Cobra Kai got started on. Yeah, and that was another thing, too. I love Cobra Kai. I'm really excited for this final season. Bittersweet. I'm looking forward to the final episodes that's going to be coming up of the final season. I think it comes out next month. But I'm excited, but I'm sad. Because it's like, the show's coming to an end. But we're getting a movie, so I'm not all that upset. So... listen, my understanding is it went to camp and gay for heterosexual men, and I understand that because Devin went to queer for mainstream. Well, I like Devin Sawa because he is kind of like, he's someone who thrives in horror. That's the genre that he thrives in. And it's basically been his, meal ticket. He's had a lot of success in horror. Idle Hands, Final Destination, you name it. He's done it. 200K viewers. Chucky would do good on... yeah, because if Chucky was a show that went straight to streaming that was on like Shudder or whatever, 200,000 people watching that's a win for streaming. Network television, cable, those aren't good numbers. Those are like low rent Real Housewives numbers. That's like numbers that a Real Housewives of Atlanta was pulling because they last season was whack-a-doodle, as in whack, not good, not crazy. Whack-a-doodle be crazy, but whack is in trash. Still haven't seen season 3. We'll probably buy the Blu-ray. But yeah, oh, you know what? I just realized I thought I watched all of season 2. I didn't. I watched half of season 2. I didn't even bother with season 3. So that's what it was with Chucky. And I had to think about it. I was like, yeah, I didn't finish the second season all the way. I just think I got annoyed with season 2. I was like, okay, y'all getting stupid with this. So first season was good. Season 2 started kind of going off the rails for me. Season 3 I heard was even more ridiculous because they was at the what was it, the school. It was like the Catholic school or something or another. That's where I left off. So that's season 2, I think. So I wouldn't mind seeing a remake of The Odd Couple. Didn't they do a remake of Odd Couple with Matthew Perry? I could have sworn they did one with him, and it didn't do well. I think it only lasted like one season. I do remember that. And you said Schitt's Creek aired on Pop TV, aka TV Guide. They were close to cancer. It became a pop. Yup, because it went right to Netflix. And I love me some Schitt's Creek. So that was the best. You said, ironically, Malik Yoba is really near undercover now. He doesn't even hide his love for Peen. How you doing? Yeah, he love the trans girls. Him and Brashear Gray, who out here doing videos with Sydney Starr. I'm like, child, nobody want to see that. But I think she also said Darius McCrary, a.k.a. Eddie Winslow, paid for her surgeries, if you know what I'm saying. I think you do. Devin as Freddy would be. Yeah, that's why I said I could definitely see Devin Sawa playing Freddy Krueger. That definitely, I think if they actually cast him as that, and he put his hat in the ring for it, I don't think horror movie fans would be that upset. And plus, he's like, what, in his early 40s? So he could definitely play that character for a couple of movies. They say he only did the Goldbergs because it wasn't that too demanding. It was humor, and Wendy was... I did not like the Goldbergs. I tried to get into that show. Well, actually, I did. I liked it maybe the first couple of seasons, and the little kid with the glasses, he was kind of like funny. So I did like him. What was that other show where they had that homosexual on there? The one that's married to Ben, whatever his name is. I was gonna say Ben Crump. Not Ben Glebe either. The other Ben, the one that's the Nepo baby. Who's that queen that was on that show that was on ABC that lasted? I didn't like that show at all. It wasn't the Goldbergs, but I think it came on around the same time as the Goldbergs. I'm sure Robert knows what I'm talking about. Not Modern Family. Speaking of which, there was a video, Instagram post that Robert sent me about one of the actors from Modern Family that came out and said he was assaulted sexually by or violated, whatever the case was, by one of the directors of a movie that he did that had him humiliated and had him working on the set because he was working with this woman that got him the gig on Modern Family and other projects. And then these people came in and kind of coerced him to sort of leave them because they were like, "Oh, you're gonna mingle with the Streeps and all these other big names. If you come sign with us," and like a fool, he went and left this one woman that actually was protecting him and getting him these jobs to go work with these people over here because he got seduced by these A-list names or whatever the case was. Got him on this damn movie. The director had him naked on the damn set. Told me he couldn't wear a cock sock. Doing all kinds of crazy stuff on the set. Had a dog eating out of his ass and all kinds of it was crazy in regards to like the stuff that he was mentioning in the video on his Instagram. And I'm sitting there gagging. Thank you. His name was Gavin. You said got canceled. First of all, you don't come after Cole Haynes. Cole Haynes is my husband. That's my other husband. I told him I got a lot of husbands. I was like, you better not come for Colton Haynes, his fine self. Where's he been, by the way? I know he came out with a book. He came out of the closet. His career went nowhere. He should be acting in a whole lot of stuff. Look, Deku got a lot of gay movies. Why he not starring in them? But anyway, let's move on. And let's talk about Megan Thee Stallion, who got a new gig. So congratulations to her. And, so for the past, I'll say couple of years, because that's what it's been. Megan Thee Stallion has, everybody's been speaking on her narrative from that grifter and that clout chaser Chelsea, whatever the fuck her name is, the one that was over there and allegedly they tried to say that did a thing with Nicki Minaj, but Nicki Minaj had some sort of sneaker line or whatever the case was, and then she picked her to be the face or whatever. I don't remember. Like, I don't even care. It was something that I heard, but I ain't care enough to even do the research or pay attention. But I heard it floating around, so we're gonna move on from that. But she had the thing with her, then you heard the whole shooting of the foot. People still believe that Megan out here lying. Got Tory Lanez thrown in jail when it was himself that got himself locked up. Y'all know the whole story. So everybody been out here telling Megan's narrative and speaking on her, except Megan. But now she has a documentary that's coming out this month, Halloween to be exact. I'm not going to be able to watch it that day because I'm going to be working the Duran Duran concert on Halloween. I'm probably going to do a couple of Halloween parties afterwards. But yeah, she's got a documentary coming out. Basically, that's going to tell the story of her rise and evolution in a documentary for Amazon MGM Studios. Now, the documentary is going to be called Megan Thee Stallion in Her Words, which is going to capture an inside look at the 3-time Grammy-winning artist, philanthropist, and entrepreneur with unprecedented access to the multifaceted woman behind the persona. So, it's basically saying they're going to give us an inside look into who she is and more behind the scenes situation and all that other stuff. And that's great. The hotties are going to eat it up. But I do wonder if she is going to speak on, what happened with that. Or maybe at this point she doesn't feel she needs to. Because remember, she did speak on it when she did the 60 Minutes interview, which in my opinion was a mess. But at this point, I guess she's probably like, I'm over that. I moved on from that. People are going to believe what they want to believe regardless. I've addressed it on my album. I've addressed all the haters on my album. I've even addressed some of these rappers that want to come out their face at me on my album. But I'm ready to move on. And I like some of the stuff she did with this latest album. However, I did not like this new album. I thought it was a chop for me. But I did like some of the songs that was on there. And I like some of the videos that she put forth. But I need her to, if Megan wants to last in this industry, she's got to evolve with her style overall in her music. Otherwise, I like the idea of Megan, but so far the music ain't giving me what needs to be given in regards of what I go for. I like, a lot of people I've been liking. I like Doechii. I like Doja Cat. Even though Doja Cat be working my nerves sometimes, the way she be gaslighting her fans and all the mess. But overall, I do like her music. And I like Megan. I wanna get on board as a hottie. But no shade. I just feel like musically, it's kind of been for me a letdown. I want more. If you're trying to go into that transitional period of being like that rap pop, choreography and stage presence, and don't get me wrong, she gives a good show. I did work her show when she came to the Garden, where she had Glorilla as the opener, and then Cardi B came out when we didn't even know she was pregnant at the time. But she came out and they all did the performance and everything, and it was lit. However, but I was like, she checks all the boxes. She has what it takes. I just need her to kind of more experiment more with her sound. And I love how she is a proponent of pushing Japanese culture. She loves anime. She is a blurred, as in a black nerd. She loves the anime. So I totally believe in all the Asian influences and stuff. It's not just she's putting on airs. So the synopsis for the film was directed by Emmy winner Nneka Onura, who did Lizzo's Watch Out for the Big Girls for Time Studios, Rock Nation, and NECA Productions. Reads, following the Houston native's journey on the road to stardom as she tenaciously navigates fame, grief, pressure, and success, the documentary unpacks Megan's most vulnerable moments in a powerful way that allows fans to meet the real Megan Pete. Because Pete is her last name. And so there's the cover, in case y'all was wondering what it looked like. And it reveals that it comes out on October 31st on Prime Video. So the documentary comes amid a strong year for Megan, who earned her third Billboard Hot 100 single with the release of Hiss. And, it was from her acclaimed album, Megan. Now, her other two chart-topping songs are Savage Remix with Beyoncé and WAP with Cardi B. Now, last month, the hitmaker pulled double duty at the MTV VMAs. They basically wasted her as a host. No shade. But y'all did, as y'all do with all your hosts, serving as host and performer with a fiery medley that included her global hit Mamushi. Now, here's the thing, and that's why I say I do like Mamushi. I like Hiss. I like some of the songs that was off the album, and I love that there was an ongoing theme with the snakes and all other stuff. However, I needed more of her music. Now, they say executive producers include Lauren Hammonds and Dave O'Connor for Time Studios, Lori York and Nicki Minaj's favorite girl, Desiree Perez. If you know, you know. And Onura, as well as Alexa Conway and Ian Orifice. I know y'all probably like, who are these people? And y'all don't probably care. But you know what? I like Megan. I would like to see her also do some hosting, like maybe with her own not reality show, because I don't think she would be that vulnerable in that thing. I think the documentary is just perfect. But like, kind of go into the Lizzo space and have your own competition series, whatever the case was. I could definitely see her doing something like that if she gets tired of the music or if she wants to kind of do things in between. So kudos to you, Megan. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing this documentary. I'll definitely watch it. And then, next month we'll be on here talking about it. So I say all this to say, what do y'all think of this story? Are you excited to see this new documentary featuring Megan Thee Stallion? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Speaking of which, I also saw that there's a Variety released their 100 best horror movies of all time. I'm sitting there wondering, do I need to do a separate show of that along with the Stephen King thing that I was supposed to do before? So maybe I can combine both, or maybe I could just add it as part of the show. But I'm thinking I want to probably wait closer to Halloween and do that. Because I did find their list relatively interesting. I don't know if it's recent or what, but I did see it was trending on social media. Well, on Variety's page. I think I'm thinking of Verizon because Verizon is my provider in regards to this damn internet. So you said, can we have a moment of silence for Nikki's? Yeah, where's that, right? You already know. It's like that, in regards to that documentary, it's like that In Vogue song. Never gonna get it, 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 never get it. It ain't coming. But good luck, but kudos to her. She actually got she's doing well with her current tour. What do Cher, Liza Minnelli, Madonna, Beyoncé, Barbara Streisand, Megan Thee Stallion, and Nicki Minaj have all in common? What? That is a good question. And you said Taylor Swift gave us Swifties a Christmas present, the anthology on CD, and a tour book. And that was another thing, too. I don't know if I brought that up with the whole Shawn Mendes thing. There was rumors going around that the reason why he moved his, to bring that up again, the reason why he moved his album release was because Taylor Swift was supposed to be dropping, you know, a new a regurgitation of her album, like a Taylor's version or whatever. I don't know if that's true, but we already got the tour book and all this other stuff coming. I don't think Taylor would be too greedy and want to like ask for more of your money. But I do think the anthology book will be enough. The tour book, the tour book and the CD and all the other stuff. So she's got all of that coming out, and I think that's what it is. And then also they were trying to say that's why Joe Jonas moved his album. I'm like, who asked for a Joe Jonas solo record? Nobody. Nobody. Also, there's rumors that Harry Styles is coming out with an album this year. I haven't heard anything about that. There's been rumors floating around that he's trying to pull a Beyonce and do a surprise release, but I'm like, I don't know if that's true. I don't see Harry Styles just surprise dropping a record. I think he'll do a whole rollout just to give the fans a taste of the new music. So I want a Halloween show. I'll do a voice memo. I'll call via messenger, discuss why Scream became our franchise. Well, you know what? I probably will do a Halloween show, and it'll just be specifically that, where it's just like we'll go through each one, and it might bore some people to death. Oh well, but if you're a horror movie fan, we'll just stick around and we'll go through that. So we'll do that, and I'll do my Stephen King list, and that'll be the show. So I'll save it for that. I mean, I don't know if I'll be able to do it directly on Halloween, but if I have to do a day before Halloween show, then I'll do that because I'm working the Duran Duran show. So I don't even know if I'll be able to have time to do a Halloween show unless I do it early in the day and then, go straight to the JOB from there. But anyway. Okay, so now let's move on. Let's talk about Diddy's BFF 50 Cent, who scored a new gig. Apparently, he's got enough hits to put together a residency, which shocked the hell out of me because I was like, I don't know a lot of people who... I didn't think 50 Cent had that many damn hits for him to be even getting a residency, but apparently the people he made the deal with think so. So, according to new reports, the hip-hop icon is joining the prestigious list of talented performers who have taken residency in Sin City. He's scheduled to leave his mark on December 2025 as his shows promise to be unforgettable experience. Well, to be an unforgettable experience. And I do have that, so I don't know if y'all actually seen the ad. And this was dropped this morning on his Instagram. So there's the ad. Why does it look like some old Jenkies, like a bootleg CD cover? That's what it's given with this picture. So it said that the project's announcement comes 9 months after 50 Cent was hit with a battery lawsuit for allegedly hitting a concert goer in the face with a microphone. He was caught on video chucking the object angrily following sound issues at the show. Well, you should have screamed at your sound people instead of taking it out on somebody in the audience. Now, the rapper turned TV entrepreneur scored a significant deal with a reported $15 million payday for a series of 6 shows at PH Live inside Las Vegas Planet Hollywood Resort and Casino. The concerts are set to start in December of next year, with many surprises for fans. Saying that 50 Cent's Las Vegas residency will feature an exclusive New Year's Eve celebration presented by his Sire Spirits brand. The upcoming project, dubbed 50 Cent in the Club, promises to be different from the rapper's previous shows. Now, fans can look forward to new experiences while enjoying some of the entrepreneurs and entertainers' biggest hits, like In the Club and 21 Questions. Per TMZ, despite being his first ever Las Vegas residency, 50 plans to make it a historic set of performances. They're saying that 50 has thrived in many of his... Well, here's the thing. Let me Google for a second. Why did it say 50 Cent residency? Not how many hits does Lady Gaga have. Hits does 50 Cent have? Because inquiring minds want to know. So, according to Billboard, he has 7 number 1 hits, Top 10 hits would be 21 and 39 songs. So I guess with his 39 songs, he'll be able to accumulate that into, hit music territory, which I guess is relatively interesting. But let's go through those songs. So what are the songs that he could possibly, perform? So remember the name, Ed Sheeran featuring Eminem and 50 Cent. Well, unless you plan on bringing Eminem and them out, I don't see why you would even perform that song. So he has a song called Pilot, which, spent 1 week on the chart, peaked at number 20. Your Life's on the Line peaked at 37 weeks on charts, 2 weeks. My Life with Eminem and Adam Levine peaked at number 5 weeks on the chart, 2 weeks. Have a Party, Mobb Deep featuring 50 Cent and Nate Dogg, peaked at 23 weeks on the chart, 2 weeks. Still Will, that's a song he was featured with Akon, peaked at number 22, 4 weeks on the chart. How to Rob, well, we do know that song, with the Mad Rapper, peaked at 24, spent 5 weeks on the chart. Hail Mary, which he has a song, it's with him, Eminem, and Busta Rhymes, peaked at 18 weeks on the chart, 5. New Day is a feature with Dr. Dre and Alicia Keys, spent 6 weeks on the chart, peaked at number 17. Straight to the Bank, peaked at number 12, weeks on the chart, 7. And then he has with him Dr. Dre and 50 Cent, Encore, peaked at number 20, spent 8 weeks on the chart. So he has Amusement Park, Lloyd Banks and him, Hands Up. Don't he have beef with Lloyd Banks? Do You Think About Me is another one of his songs. I Get It In, well, we do know that song. Peaked at number 16, spent 10 weeks. Realest Ninjas with him and Notorious B.I.G., which of course had to be a sample because I don't even think he had a thing going on with, well, Biggie was already in the grave by the time, 50 Cent's career took off. Peaked at number 21, What Up Gangsta? We all know that song. Peaked at number 16, spent 12 weeks on the chart. Window Shopper peaked at number 9, spent 12 weeks on the chart. Get Up peaked at number 9, spent another 12 weeks on the chart. Crack a Bottle, number 4 is where it peaked, 13 weeks. So a lot of the songs that he has is like, yeah, he got a lot of songs. Yeah, he could do Wanksta, Disco Inferno, Candy Shop, just a little bit. Magic Stick, 21 Questions, If I Can't, Hate It or Love It. I Get Money, Baby By Me, AO Technology. He could do the Out of Control remix, the Best Friend song with Olivia. Like, he's got a lot of PIMP, of course in the club, which, PIMP and In the Club are like his, biggest number 1 hits. Also, Candy Shop was a number 1 hit. Just a Little Bit was a number 1 hit. Magic Stick was a number 1 hit. 21 Questions was a number 1 hit. And Hate It or Love It, that's another one that was a number 1 hit. Isn't Mary J. Blige in the chorus? Or is that the remix? So, he got ways of making it, I guess, interesting and have y'all doing it. And I guess because maybe I'm guessing it's going to be in a more of a, because it's New Year's type of situation, it's going to be in a club type setting. And I do feel like 50, because he has a song called In the Club, it would definitely thrive in a club setting. I can't see him, and I've seen him enough times where he's popped out at events that I've worked at the Garden where he's been brought out on stage, like at Andrew Schultz's show and other people's shows. He's jumped up on stage. He's done a couple of songs. Even Nicki Minaj, he did the first leg of the Pink Friday 2 tour, where during that show when she had Monica and all other stuff, he came out and did a medley of his hits. And so that's what I'm thinking about in my head, which is like, how are you going to put a show together in regards to Residency? But I guess if he got the idea and he was able to seal the deal, they'll make it work. And I guess y'all going to spend the money to go see him. So I'll say, what do y'all think of this story? Are y'all looking forward? And are y'all going to be going to Vegas and spend the coin titles to go see 50 in his own residency? When I think of Residency, I've been thinking of like Janet Jackson. I've been thinking of Kylie Minogue. I think of Christina Aguilera, what the kind of shows that they be putting on. I just can't see like 50 Cent, who, yeah, he had a lot of songs, but he really was not that big of a staple in hip hop. Like, I feel like his career would last about as long as his arch nemesis, Ja Rule. So, child, I wouldn't be surprised if Ja Rule be the next one, speaking of which, to sign on to do a residency. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. To say, you 80s baby, you, thank God you're not working the rally. Well, I hope I'm not. So, I am a little worried. Oh my God. Well, so far on the schedule, we haven't, we don't even, yeah, there's a thing, and I don't even want to talk about it, but yeah, Donald Trump is supposed to be doing a rally at Madison Square Garden. That was announced like a week or two ago via, what is it? The Republican newspaper, New York Post. So that's going to be an interesting one. But yeah, they have not scheduled me for that. Thank God. But yeah, we were advised, like, even whatever your political views are, keep it to yourself. And I'm pretty good with that. Like, if I'm working, I'm on my business. I do what I got to do. And I don't sit there getting in debates and conversations about politics and all this other stuff. That's, my situation. But whatever happens at work, I'm the most professional. So I don't play that where people just get all wound up over, oh yeah, I have to let everybody know my political, like, I'm not doing that. That's what I said. A million hits and 50 Cent's gonna last. And that's usually how it was when it came to a lot of his performances that I bear witness to. So what is this whole residency gonna entail? So I'm definitely curious to see what that is. So I guess next year when somebody records it and puts it all over the social media, y'all will let me know when I'm watching them videos exactly like what type of show it's gonna be. But anyway, let's talk about, speaking of Diddy, get into him. I don't want to get into him physically, but let's talk about him. So, look, another day, another Diddy lawsuit, or should we say lawsuits? Because it seems like every time I turn around, we got a new damn Diddy lawsuit that we got to talk about on this show. I am getting sick and tired of talking about him, but it's like with all the stuff that's coming out, we got to keep it going. We got to keep the train going. We got to keep talking about it. We got to keep mentioning and keeping everybody abreast of all of what's going on in Diddy land. Or the Diddler land. So according to Rolling Stone, they basically said the Houston lawyer who promised a wave of new lawsuits against Sean Diddy Combs filed his first complaints on Monday, that would be yesterday, on behalf of 2 Jane Does and 4 John Does who alleged that they were victims of violent SAs between 1995 and 2021. One plaintiff claims that he was 16 years old when Combs allegedly assaulted him at one of the music mogul's famous white parties. Now, lawyer Tony Busby recently touted his representation of 120 people who claim they suffered disturbing abuse by Combs. The 6 new lawsuits filed in the Southern District of New York under the city's Victims of Gender-Motivated Violence Protection Act include allegations Combs drugged, R-worded, sodomized, and threatened to kill the plaintiffs. Combs' attorneys largely denied the allegations in the lawsuits in a statement provided to Rolling Stone. Of course they did, because that's your job. Your job there is to defend your client. But let's entertain what they had to say. Saying the press conference and 1-800 number that preceded today's barrage of filings were clear attempts to garner publicity. This is what the statement read. Mr. Combs and his legal team have full confidence in the facts, their legal defenses, and the integrity of the judicial process. In court, the truth will prevail, that Mr. Combs has never SA'd anyone, adult, minor, man, or woman. Yeah, okay, sir. You want to tell that to y'all really that confident to go to court? Because y'all were real confident when y'all was trying to, basically diminish Cassie's experience. Y'all called her a liar. You basically said that it was a money grab. Then what happened? That video leaked, which y'all went on months later to state that you believe the FBI leaked it because y'all wanted to make an example out of him, and then try to play up the racism, whatever the case was. That maybe there may be some truth in that, but and we already know how the legal system is, especially when it pertains to people of color, especially if you're Black. However, when we talk about a demon like Diddy, or as I like to refer to him as the devil, you don't get to weaponize and use that for your own little situation because you're trying to windmill hard for your client. Because, what little money he got stashed away somewhere is going to pay for y'all being on his retainer. So, yeah, we could entertain all that other stuff, but not when it comes to him. So, they says that Doe claims that he bumped into Combs during the event. Wait, hold on. Wait, I don't think I read that part. So let me get to this one. So it says the John Doe who now lives in North Carolina is the first male to allege Combs assaulted him when he was a minor. The plaintiff claims that he was 16 years old in 1998 when he attended one of Combs' legendary Hamptons-based white parties after being invited through a mutual connection. Doe claims that he bumped into Combs during the event and took a photo with the Bad Boy Entertainer founder that's included in the filing. He says they discussed Doe's interest in the music industry and moved to a private area where the conversation took an unexpected turn for the worst. Combs allegedly told Doe to drop his pants and expose his ding-a-ling, but they say the P word, so Combs could inspect it. Well, what that got to do with music? You want to play the flute with his meat popsicle? The lawsuit states, when the teen resisted, Combs allegedly responded, "Don't you want to break into the business?" Now, if that ain't the casting couch, I don't know what to tell you. Or what they like to, what was the other thing that they like to, well, yeah, casting couch, whatever they all have their little things that they call it. They said that the lawsuit claims that Combs then grabbed John Doe's genitalia with his hand and began squeezing and feeling the teen's genitals. Afterward, Combs allegedly told Doe that his people would be in touch. The alleged encounter continues to humiliate and cause shame. This is what Doe's lawsuit claims. Another plaintiff claims that she was assaulted by Combs in 2004 when she was 19. The Jane Doe alleged that she was a college student in Brooklyn when she met Combs at a photo shoot promoting Combs' musical act, The Band. She claims that Combs invited her and a friend to an after party, but asked him to stop by his Manhattan Marriott hotel room first. According to the 19-page complaint, someone in Combs' entourage suddenly grabbed the women and isolated them into a separate room with Combs while allegedly telling them, "You know what you are here for." So that's another one of the overall complaints. The Jane Doe alleges that Combs instructed her and her friend to imbibe alcohol and booger sugar, almost said the C word, that he had prepared them on a table. Combs continued getting gradually more aggressive with the two women and eventually began forcibly touching them without consent. When they resisted, Combs ordered Miss Doe's friend to perform a mouth massage on him or else he would have them both unalived. The woman claims that Combs ignored her attempts to resist and forced her to take her clothes off under threat of violence. Once she was undressed, Combs forced himself on her and began to SA her. Combs fondled, molested, and ultimately R-worded Miss Doe, all while she was begging him to stop. According to the complaint, Combs told the woman that he would be leaving the room, but she had to stay alone in the dark, otherwise she would be unalive. After 30 minutes, a security guard told her she could leave, and she fled the hotel, her lawsuit states. A third lawsuit came from a Georgia-based John Doe, who claims he was invited to a New York City party hosted by Combs in October of 2021. The man claims that he was picked up at an airport by Combs' associates and offered an e-pill by Combs' employees at the event, which he refused. After consuming what he believed to be only an alcoholic drink, when you already know what happened, because according to the reports, they always say that there was something slipped in the alcoholic drink. And so the man claims that the room began spinning and he became disoriented. In a state of confusion, he attempted to remove himself from the situation, seeking a safe space. As Doe tried to leave, a male voice told him, "Hold on," and he promised to help him. Doe claims that he later woke up in a bedroom paralyzed, unable to move, speak, or fight back. He distinctly recalled seeing Combs above him, naked at one point during the assault. The lawsuit claims during this time, plaintiff was sodomized by at least 3 men. And I hope in the lawsuit he named who those 3 men were. The man described the night as life-altering and says that he continued to seek therapy to heal from the traumatic event. He is suing for the R-word, aggravated sexual abuse, assault, and battery. The fourth lawsuit came from a John Doe who claims that Combs SA'd him at the flagship Macy's Herald Square department store in Manhattan in May of 2008. The man claims that he worked as an advisor for Echo Clothing, a rival to Combs' Sean John line, and says that he had previously met Combs on numerous occasions. Now, Doe, who is now based in Ohio, claims that he was inside the Macy's stockroom when Combs entered the space with 3 bodyguards. Doe claims he was suddenly struck in the back of the neck and fell to his knees. Combs approached plaintiff while plaintiff was still on his hands and knees and said, "SMD, Echo," referring to the clothing line that plaintiff worked for. The plaintiff is, this is what the plaintiff is claiming. Now, Combs thereafter forced his meat popsicle into the plaintiff's mouth and proceeded to forcibly and brutally, orally R-word the plaintiff. Child, this man is trash. But let's continue on with this because I know this has got to be a trigger warning. But y'all already know this is Chris Evelyn Unfiltered. So let's go in. Let's go into it because this is a lot. So the man claims that Combs and his bodyguards made threats towards him before leaving the stockroom. Combs then proceeded to hand out Sean John merchandise. Child, he got the nerve to sell his old trash ass clothing line after all of this. So they said that Combs then proceeded to hand out Sean John merchandise on the Macy's retail floor as if nothing had happened. Doe claims that although he tried reporting the alleged assault to Macy's security, nothing was ever done. Well, child, because Macy's is tired. Nothing was ever done, and he was later fired by Echo. Now, in a 5th lawsuit, a John Doe claims that he was also essayed at one of Combs' white parties. The man claims Mass Security, MASS, that's, I guess, the name of the company, Mass Security hired him to work the Hamptons event in August of 2006, where Combs allegedly greeted him and offered him alcoholic drinks throughout the night. By the second drink, the man felt extremely ill and leaned against his truck for support. The lawsuit states, while the security guard was in distress, allegedly because he had been drugged, Combs approached the man and pushed him into an open van. Not the open van, child. This is giving, white man in a van tease. And so they said that the lawsuit claims Combs overpowered and SA'd the man as he struggled to escape. The complaint says that Combs dismissed the man's pleas for help by repeatedly saying, "You'll be all right." The man says that while he considered himself an all-American guy, there is not a day goes by without thoughts of the traumatic incident. Now, the 6th lawsuit came from a Jane Doe who claims that she attended a promo party for Notorious B.I.G.'s music video One More Chance at Elks Plaza in June of 1995. The woman claims that Combs took an interest in her while she was dancing with friends and asked to speak with her privately. She agreed and they headed to the bathroom where Combs allegedly began kissing the woman. Feeling uncomfortable and confused, Doe asked him to slow down, believing they were there to talk. Instead, Combs advanced aggressively. When Doe attempted to pull away, he violently struck her, slamming her head against the wall and causing her to fall to the floor. The woman claims that Combs hit her again before lifting her dress and R-wording her while she lay helpless on the floor. Afterward, he allegedly threatened her, saying, "You better not tell anyone about this or you will disappear." Describing herself as emotionally shattered in the aftermath of the alleged assault, the woman claims that she since avoided news about Combs because it triggers traumatic memories. So the 6 new lawsuits follow a dozen other complaints filed over the last year that allege Combs subjected people to SA during his heyday as a music industry impresario and gatekeeper. The flood of civil claims started with the bombshell R-word and sex trafficking lawsuit against him by his ex-girlfriend Cassandra Cassie Ventura last November. So more people have come out and said things, and so far this is all of what we have in regards of this case. Now let me put on my I was gonna put on my Sunny Hostin legal hat. Diddy has denied any wrongdoing. That's foolish as they keep saying about Donald Trump. But this is what Tony Busby basically said in the statement. He said, "We will let the allegations in the filed complaint speak for themselves and will work to see that justice is done." This is what he said in the statement. The Houston-based litigator filed the lawsuits in association with fellow lawyers Andrew Van Arsdale in California, Crystal Del Toro in Texas, and Antigone Carice in New York, saying that we expect to be filing many more cases over the next several weeks, naming Mr. Combs and others as defendants. And so, but this is not going to go anywhere anytime soon. Like, I guess we're going to keep having to feed y'all the latest Diddy news as long as, he waits for his trial, which is said to take place next year at the same day as, what is it? The Met Gala. Who I forget who they have. They have a whole bunch of people that's gonna be. I know Pharrell's gonna be in it or a part of it. Who else? There's a bunch of people I can't think of off the top of my head. But They got a lot of black folk on, on the board this, next year. Pharrell being one of them. Who else? Coleman Domingo, who I just saw on TV the other day. I can't believe that man about to turn 55 years old. I'm like, black don't crack, child. Coleman look good. But with this whole Diddy situation, so there's a lot of that coming on. And I guess in the meantime, until we wait for the trial, and then who knows, they may get postponed because, what they're talking about, they may add more things to the situation. I have a strange feeling that this story ain't going anywhere anytime soon, and we're gonna be talking a whole lot more about, Diddy in this case. And you know what? It's funny how like a lot of people say that why am I wait till now? We still not gonna give that narrative because Diddy ran New York. Diddy is, as they said, the gatekeeper. And when I play you the Bow Wow clip, he even co-signs on the fact that Diddy was the gatekeeper, especially when it came to the club scene and all that other stuff, and the parties and all the other things of that nature. And it was like, Diddy was basically running New York and had a lot of power and a lot of influence. How do you think, like, especially when it came to the things Wendy Williams was saying about him on the radio, how he could make a phone call and have her pretty much fired because he had a lot of pull, because a lot of the music from Bad Boy was getting played on the radio, and radio was at the mercy of a lot of these, a lot of the talent. And hip hop was huge, still is. I don't feel like at the point of like what it was back in its heyday. But when I was growing up, there was so much variety and diversity in regards of like hip hop and how it was. And New York was running things. Trust and believe. It ain't running like it used to. But back in the 90s and the 2000s, New York was running some things, especially like with the type of music we was doing and Diddy was doing, the Shiny Suit Man stuff, Biggie and all these other artists, even though he was raping his artists literally and figuratively, monetarily and monetarily, and things of that nature. So like I said, this story isn't going anywhere anytime soon because I'm sure like from now until his trial, I will be reporting on more Diddy based news and all the other stuff. And do I believe a lot of it? I do, because like I said, Diddy always been trash. I ain't never liked that man. There was always something real stink and sinister about him. And I'm just glad that karma just finally came to collect. I told you 2024 was not playing with you hoes in regards to a lot of the accountability a lot of y'all are getting. And it's not just Diddy, it's been a lot of people. So my soothsayer, Virgo twin, Cat Williams kicked things in the high gear this year when he did that Club Shay Shay interview. And now y'all see a lot of what he said, the chickens have come home to roost. So I say all this to say, what do y'all think of this story? Are y'all surprised, and are you even gagging and clutching your pearls over the latest tea that I just gave y'all, courtesy of Rolling Stone and their expose and all the latest report and stuff on the more people that's coming out with this case? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below. You said, why haven't they come out to the media? What are you talking about? The people? Maybe because I don't think they need to come out to the media. What's the point of them coming out to the media? Because all they're going to do is get ridiculed and threatened on social media. So might as well just file your cases, do your John Doe situation, because a lot of people are probably embarrassed by the fact that they've been violated, especially men. Like, we still have a place, and we're still a society that still feels uncomfortable with men even admitting they were assaulted sexually. So, like I said, and there's really no point in them coming out to the media because, look, Kathy stuff came out, and a lot of people still called her a lie until that video came out. Then all of a sudden, everybody had a new damn tune to sing. You said Diddy hole is ran through. Okay, probably looked like Arby's meat. Back at his booty hole looked like Arby's meat. There's been no mention of Mary J. Look, I don't know about. Well, I did hear something. What was his name? Who actually is a friend to the show? Mims, make it make sense. He did deal with, I remember he did a video on, some stuff about Mary J. Blige was at the freak off, whatever it is. She about to get her initiation, whatever the case is. I'm not saying that she may have partaken or co-signed a lot of what Diddy was doing. She busy out here trying to, rejuvenate her whole situation, putting out music. She got this tour and stuff that's supposed to be kicking off, and I know she's going to be touring my job next year. So she doesn't have to stop it. Thank God it ain't at Barclays. So so she's out here doing her own thing, and she's refusing to answer because she called Diddy her brother, and maybe Diddy was using her at the time and had her caught up in some stuff, because remember, Mary was a drug addict. So when you caught up in them drugs, I'm not saying that it's an excuse, you know, you could be privy to a whole lot of things, and people will take advantage of that and use you because, you know, they have the thing that you need that's going to keep you going. And Mary's another one was a product of abuse. I don't know if I remember if she's ever been SA'd, but I know she's been physically abused by her ex, you know. And she has horrible pickings when it comes to men, you know, KC, or was it JoJo that she was with in Jodeci, and then Ken Do, that trash, that user that was stealing her damn money. But anyway, let's move on. And speaking of dummies, you a dummy, bitch. Let's talk about Bow Wow, who always has a knack of sticking his damn foot in his mouth when he talks. So, you know, people took to social media to drag him over comments that he said about Diddy, about how he missed them Diddy parties. So Bow Wow, as you know, has a habit of sticking his foot in his mouth, but in the latest comments, you know, couldn't have come at a worse time. The 37-year-old rapper recently claimed that he missed Diddy's parties, and the internet did not agree with what he was saying, given the controversial mogul's recent arrest and year-long legal ordeals related to alleged R-word, S-trafficking, and more. So here's the clip, because of Roxy Diaz, who I haven't heard that name in eons. Remember when she used to be on 106 in Park with Lil Man? And then I saw this video with Child. I need to know what his age was, because I'm like, is this inappropriate? Because look, there was a clip in the Roxy Diaz interview that he did in the opening, literally seconds in, showed a clip of him making out with Tyra Banks on 106 in Park. And I'm like, was he of age for her to be doing that on that ripoff of TRL that they had over there at BET? Because that's basically what 106 in Park was. I remember back in the day when he used to be AJ and Free. But yeah, so we have the clip, and we'll play the clip, and then we'll come back. Please hold.
Like, for me, thinking on it, bro, supposed to be on a 250-foot yacht with his wife, leg up, chilling. This how you ride it out. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of us probably never thought that we would see this. But for me, it's like, it's just unreal. Like, it seems unreal at times. I know me and Jermaine, we spoke about it, and I'm just like, I would never thought that we would see him in this position, ever.
Even with all the rumors that I've always circulated.
Never. Just never thought I'd see it like this. Like, nah. He's like the gatekeeper to the game. To the point to where, what weekend just passed? Like BET Award weekend, it didn't, like the past two, they just didn't feel right. Because there was no motion, there was no parties. There was nowhere to go. Like,
let's be very specific between like, parties and freak offs.
No, the industry, like the parties that we attend. Like, there's me, you, the Terrences.
I left before one. I never stayed. I've only been to 2 parties, and like, I've never seen a freak off.
Yeah, like, but it shows, and once again, I'm separating, right? I'm talking about him as the artist, the person, right? How monumental and how important he was to the culture. Because I said, Jermaine, there's no party. Every year, dude had the, and you feel it. It's like a hole. It's like, damn, we ain't going. He was just such a gatekeeper for him. The liquor in the clubs, like he was everything hip hop. You know what I mean? So for that to die out, it's like you just would have never thought. And especially when you look at somebody as like somebody you study, somebody you idolize, somebody who you looked at like, yo, when it comes to hustle, when it comes to business and how to run your shit, it's like he was the guy that every young hustler looked up to and wanted to either be like or wanted to, now I'm gonna pass this thing.
Okay, so I think y'all pretty much got the gist of the situation. And yeah, he's right. There was a lot of people that pretty much looked to Diddy, looked up to him in that way, as like, yeah, I aspire to be like that in regards, because on the outside, he put up this front that it was like, oh yeah, I'm very grandiose, I'm larger than life. He was very much hip hop's Liberace. quiet as it's kept. I mean, I think that's a perfect analogy to compare Diddy, like in regards of the overall, the flashiness and the aesthetic and being more grand than he actually was. So he was putting on airs. Like, yeah, we know that you all had your little side businesses and you had all these other deals and endorsements and things of that nature. And yeah, he was running the clubs. And yeah, he had his Ciroc and stuff that was all up in the clubs and stuff. And he was definitely holding it down in regards of like the whole party scene. And nobody threw a party like Diddy. But for you to sit up in here and say this dumbness, but you talking about that, oh, you missed there was no parties or whatever. So nobody thought to throw after parties in New York. Like the fashion world was out here throwing after parties and everybody else was throwing after parties. So when it comes to the music and all the other stuff, y'all can't throw after parties. Ain't nobody saying that so are all the parties that you've gone to freak off-esque? Like, I don't understand like how we're not having, like, what's the difference between parties and the freak offs? Those are two different things. You can have your regular party where you have the celebrities mingling and everybody's doing what they're doing. If you want to dig a little coke in the corner or whatever the case is, then yeah, bring your little thingy and then do your little bumps or whatever, or your lines, and you can do all of that. But it's a difference between, yeah, you throwing a party and there's a bunch of celebrities hobnobbing and drinking and dipping it and doing it versus, you know, something where, okay, now, or some of y'all got to leave the room because now things about to get freaky and I'm about to bring out a bunch of people I trafficked across straight lines and having them doing unspeakable things for my pleasure and for everybody's entertainment. Not realizing how I really went about getting these people in this room. But y'all want to sit up in here because y'all are all a bunch of little horn dogs and you're all drugged up and doing whatever. You just going along with the situation, not knowing Diddy's true intentions. So yeah, but naturally, of course, people took to social media and decided to drag him on what he said. So one person said, get a load of this loser. We booked him at the club and he couldn't even give his liquor away to the hoes. They didn't want it. A Diddy party may actually be his best bet because I've never seen a celebrity with so much inability to get bitches. Wait, they talk about, wait, he got a liquor line? I'm not talking about Diddy. We all know about Diddy. Well, I don't even think he owned that anymore. Because, you know, when he parted ways with Diageo, I don't know if he even owns Ciroc still. But I don't know Bow Wow had a liquor line. Well, that's probably why it's not selling because we don't know about it. Another person says, send him back to the orphanage. I'm screaming. Was that like Mike Reed? But anyway, so they was like, fiending. Okay, so one person put, fiending for Diddy parties is crazy. This is what one user wrote on Twitter. Said, dude should just stay quiet. This is what another user, you know, apparently got personal with Bow Wow and shared an anecdote. Said, oh yeah, I read the get a load of this loser thing, so I don't need to read that one again because that was the one I read prior. One user tweeted, Bow Wow missed them diddler parties. Bad. Another remark, go throw a party then. Throw a freak list party and fill the void. Problem solved. And that is so true. It's like, if you can't fill the void, I mean, if something is missing, and this is what I always say to people, if you craving something, if you miss something, if something doesn't exist anymore, then create your version of it. Be the change you want to see in the world. We're not saying you got to create a freak off, but if you missed the whole party thing, maybe that should be the next venue you get into because you claim you were so inspired by the diddler and what he stood for and all those things and how you idolized him and looked up to him. So did Justin Bieber. But according to the stories, Justin out here going through some things and been in hiding and dealing with his trauma, allegedly, on what may have or may not have happened with him and the diddler because they had their friendship. So other comments went and said, Bow Wow was just itching and scratching for a freak out party. I can imagine him like itching and scratching like Dave Chappelle, like being a crackhead. Like, it's giving me that. Diddy party withdrawals is crazy work. That's what another person said. Another person said, fiending for Diddy parties is crazy. Dude should have just stayed quiet. Okay, we read that one. Another person said, can he read a room? Or the room? Another person said, considering current circumstances to be saying this is wild. Well, you know, one of the things about Bow Wow, he just seems to be just culturally clueless and just not. Maybe he just lacks awareness. But you a little too old at your big age of 37 to be pulling this stunt. And then on top of that, this is the same thing like with Cry Reese, dumb behind getting on social media talking about he missed Jess Hilarious. You the only one. Because quiet as it's kept, I think the people over there at the Breakfast Club realized they made a mistake by giving that dingbat a gig as the third host. Y'all should have just stayed, you know, after Angela Yee, y'all should have picked somebody else. But they picked that girl, I can't remember her name, but she used to work over there at TMZ. She's doing a better job because A, she has a journalism background, and B, at least she does her research before she open her mouth and say stuff. Whether you agree with her or not, just let her just be spewing how they are. Let her sit at home and just raise that baby. Because as a personality, she don't have it. But anyway, this ain't about that old dingbat. Let's get back to this dingbat. So we already know, like, look, this is some poor timing. Diddy's behind bars. You could have just said, you know what? It's unfortunate what happened with him and all this other stuff because I idolized him and I looked up to him and I was not expecting him to be seen as this type of guy, or he would be capable of this sort of thing. And then you could have been like, well, did you bear witness to anything at them freak offs? That would have been a good question. Well, I don't know if that's what Roxy asked because I didn't watch the episode. I just seen the clip and I'm responding to it. But at this point, it's just like, Bow Wow, you should have known, you should have really thought about it, what you had said before you opened your mouth and said this foolishness. But then why y'all surprised? Because Bow Wow always been type corny. But I say all this to say, what do y'all think of this story? Whatever your thoughts are regarding this topic, you know, if Bow Wow should have stayed quiet, I think the overall consensus would have been like, yeah, he should have just kept his mouth closed and just be cute. Just be short, be cute, and just, you know, do what you do. I guess, which is why I don't know what he does exactly. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. What does Bow Wow miss it? That's a good question. Does he miss getting diddled? Were you one of his victims? Because you just about that age. According to the story, did he like him young, allegedly? So that is a good question. But child, now let's move on from one idiot to another. Let's talk about this dingbat. Let's talk about Azealia Banks, Yuck Mouth, who I like to call, because that mouth is wide. That's probably why she always got something to say. Because that mouth is wide, niece. And it's funny, I wish this heifer would just actually take some time to work on herself instead of always got something to say about people who ain't paying her no damn mind. So another day, another moment where Azealia Banks feels the need to assert herself in other celebrity affairs. So it all started when Julia Fox revealed that she hated being known as Ye's ex and that it was the most uncomfortable experience of her life, saying she was used as a pawn, saying, I regret the relationship so much. I hate it. It was only a few weeks, but enough to last me a lifetime. I was in probably the most uncomfortable position in my life, and that's saying a lot. I don't want to be known for being anyone's girlfriend. Now, I did this topic yesterday, so I'm going to just regurgitate what I said because yesterday's episode was irritating the sugar honey iced tea out of me because the internet was interneting. But my overall assessment was, Julia, I like you. I like what you're all about. Like, I've been seeing you out and about and all this other stuff. And you know, you've gotten your foot in the door with the fashion and all the other stuff. But girl, you knew what you were doing when you got with Kanye. You knew you benefited wholeheartedly, even if it was for a short period of time, from being in a relationship with Kanye, because quiet as it's kept, we didn't know who you was before you got with him. Yeah, you had a role in Uncut Gems, that Adam Sandler movie, but past that, what were you known for? And we didn't know that. Well, I didn't know that because I'm not really a fan of Adam Sandler movies. I was a lot of with his earlier stuff, but his later films, I really just paid the dust. But I heard Uncut Gems was a good movie. She was in it, but besides the media bringing that up, you weren't really known. You were just known for that movie, and that was it. I didn't know you for anything else except for being Kanye's girl, arm candy. And I don't think she's the only one that benefited from being on Kanye's arm. We didn't know who Amber Rose was before she got with him either. So she benefited. This chick benefited. And Kim Kardashian, whether you can say what you want about her, she benefited too. So yeah, she was famous in her own right, famous for being famous. But of course, her being Kanye's wife and bearing his 4 children gave her autonomy to a world she was not allowed to be a part of, that she was trying to get in the club. She was trying to get in that VIP section, mingling with Beyonce and all of them. But because of Kanye at the time and his association, she got the hobnob with that group of people. She got to be in the elite. She got to be in, you know, not only Beyonce and Jay-Z, but also the fashion world. The fashion world wasn't checking for her. Anna Wintour damn sure wasn't checking for Kim until Kanye was, you know, bulldozing and trying to push her out there and turn her his own very personal Barbie doll, his own Amanda Lepore. If y'all don't know who Amanda Lepore you better look her up. She is an icon. Now, speaking of icons, because, you know, Charlie XCX says she's so So that's my overall assessment on that with her. So it's like, girl, you got what you got out of it. Don't sit up here and try to, feed us this BS that you did. I don't want to be known as someone's girlfriend, but you was loving every moment of it because nobody knew who you was before you got with Kanye. So now, of course, Yuck Mouth had to jump into the whole conversation and assert herself and say the following in a series of tweets. Even taking shots at Fox's history of substance abuse, noting that little girls are impressionable, referring to Kanye's 4 kids. Well, if they were so impressionable, then why is, allegedly all the things that Kanye is doing, especially with, that recent report talking about that with Bianca Censori's role in accumulating hookers and stuff, and how, and porn stars, and how Kanye allegedly got Bianca a male porn star for her birthday. Isn't that impressionable on the kids? But you want to sit up here worrying about Julia Fox, who ain't been in a relationship with this man for years. But of course, because she need a book to sell, I don't even know if it was a bestseller or not. She's telling her side of the story now. Azealia Banks wants to assert herself because she ain't putting out no music. She ain't doing nothing else. So she got to go in and jump in other people's conversation. I'm sure if she was one of those busybodies in school, I wonder if people beat her ass all the time. Because she one of those girls that always trying to assert herself and stuff. She don't look like a girl that could scrap. She look like she just run her mouth. And the girls probably was over there pulling her weave at 3 o'clock after school. That's what Azealia gives me. She don't look like a scrapper. So she also accused Fox of being a clout chaser, saying Julia Fox and Kanye's tryst span only a couple of weeks. And in the episode, she revealed that she was the one who broke up with him, saying, girl, you literally were contracted for this job through a celebrity madam in Miami. You knew you was there to be a comfort girl. Calling yourself a pawn is giving yourself way too much credit. You wasn't even on the chessboard, sis. LMAO, how long is this bitch gonna ride this I ate chicken Alfredo with Kanye and he got me secondhand Birkin from at the Real Deal or the Real brick and mortar store? Shit out, ? Bitch flew to Los Angeles and was flocking the streets looking for him while he was at Nobu with Drake. LMAO, these white women are something else. So yeah, that's what she said. And then she also said the following. She said, Kanye better learn his lesson about these white girls. They all have this fucked up sense of racist entitlement and foolishly think there's some special coveted thing to him because they are white. Not understanding that Kanye got all the white pussy in the world already. Then when their egos get bruised, they go trying to act like they're somehow above him and too good for him. LMAO, these bitches acting like they wrote Jesus Walks. LMAO. I'm like, girl, are you trying to get a feature with Kanye? Because you're going real hard for him. She also went on to say, and Julia, you effing blew it by being a fame whore and interviewing about Kanye every effing 5 seconds. I told you to shut up and at least ride it out long enough for Kanye to get you a new apartment where you ain't got sneaker boxes in the kitchen, bitch. But you did listen, dummy. Kanye has kids. You have photos of yourself shooting heroin on the internet. Little girls are impressionable. You are an effing liability, Julia. Get the fuck over it. Also said, like, imagine, and she wasn't finished. This is all that happened on October 13th, by the way, at 11 in the morning. So she had time. Like, do you sleep? She also wanted to say, like, imagine a dirty white bee with a needle in her arm and photos of her sucking them gay niggas from Salem's dicks, having the nerve to try and posture like she's above Kanye West. LMAO, piece of bird shit. I'm like, Jesus. And then somebody, the people was commenting. They said the calls was coming from inside the house. And another person put, I'm everywhere. I'm so Julia. That's funny. Another person commented, I mean, she's Coakley XCX's friend. Of course she's a drug head. Oh, you trying to say that Charlie XCX is a cokehead? And look, bitch, if she is a cokehead, that's her damn business. If Charlie want to be out here sniffing the booger sugar, what they got to do with you? But I wouldn't be out here snorting no booger sugar these days. Y'all put fentanyl in every damn thing. So I wouldn't even trust the drugs. So yeah, this is all of what she said. Now, this isn't the first time that Banks ripped Fox. After confirming the relationship was over, Fox called herself a #1 hustler, which at the time prompted Banks to ask, what did you hustle him for? A bag of solutions? You can kiss your days as a low-rate escort goodbye, sis. And who knows, maybe she was a low-rate escort. Because here's the old one courtesy of The Shade Room that came out like in 2022 of February. What it basically said, she was talking about her son, basically calling her son a crack baby. And said that she was about to post the whole podcast where you talk shit on trans people to a trans person. And said something or other, Richie needs to work on his facial fem. That's a they, them until further notice. Maybe pawn that Birkin and fix that jaw. And said, CUNT, you're so mad because nobody F with you. You literally tried to say you're in Beyonce and Rihanna's level, and I have it recorded. Ha, we play it and laugh at you. Also went on to say, this is what Julia's saying in white. And then in the lime green, it says, yawn as if 3 successful divas care what kind of black N-word reject meltdown you're having. Ha ha, well, whatever. Okay. These two are out of their damn mind. Azealia Banks, you need to go sit your ass down somewhere. Always asserting herself and stuff. And yeah, we got more Azealia Banks tea because, look, I'm pretty much exhausted over this mess. I'm cackling. So I say all to say, what do y'all think of this story? Whatever your thoughts are in regards to this, like I already said what I said about Julia. It's like, girl, this was an opportunity for you. You rode the thing with Kanye as far as you could, and it got you opportunities. It got you that fashion talk reality show with Laura Roach over there on E. I don't know how well it did. It probably didn't do all that well. It probably did all right. I didn't watch that one episode. I meant to get around to watching it, but I just didn't care enough to, it just like, I just didn't care enough to watch it. So whatever your thoughts are on this story, let me know in the comments down below. You said Azalea's entire career is talking shit about people. Exactly. Charlie does talk about drug references, but 212 also will lose the drugs. That's what I'm sitting there saying, like, ma'am, don't act like you an angel and that you don't be out here doing drugs either. So it's like a crackhead calling a crackhead. Like, get off my line with that. Like, you look more like, you give more tease of Halle Berry and Jungle Fever crackhead. So, ma'am, until you brush that wig or weave, because you've been having the same Dollar Tree weave since 212. So until you get that shit, that nappy-headed ass wig together, like, shut the fuck up. Well, I'm cussing a lot today. I'm back. Maybe the old Chris Avalon's coming back. I'm trying to clean up the show so I can get so I can stop getting the yellow thing, because I had to drag YouTube yesterday when they asked me to do an overall assessment in regards to how y'all be doing us smaller content creators and how y'all be out here making it difficult for us to, monetize and promote. But anyway, she's not the only one, she's not the only one out here that she's dragging. Azealia Banks apparently decided, because she's bored, to drag Madonna. I don't know if these drags is paying her bills, because quiet as is kept. Remember what I don't know if y'all remember, Funky Dineva did say that when she got evicted from that place in Florida, that she couldn't even pay the movers to move her stuff. It was stuck out on the lawn. And they were the same movers he used to move his stuff from Miami to Atlanta. She ain't even got the coin to pay movers to move her trash ass crap out that apartment she was evicted from. But she want to sit up out here talking about people with actual coin that could take care of themselves. But you worrying about people boxes, shoe boxes in the kitchen, and you worrying about Madonna and her music. Mind you, she has about the same amount of hits as the decade she's lasted in music. 40 hits, 40 years in the business. Where's your hits? I'll wait, because here's the thing. You could bring up 212 and all other stuff. We Google schmoogled it. None of them songs ever was a top 10 or number 1 hit. So Azealia out here trying to windmill and read people. But girl, you have no hits to speak of. So until you have a resume that you could speak of that's on the level of these people you talk about, then you can sit up here and try to read people's songs down to the floor. But anyway, so since y'all may not be aware what had happened, let me fill you in. So music fans were not here for no-hit wonder turned internet troll Azealia Banks fixing her yuck mouth to say that she's not only a better singer than Madonna, but she had the absolute nerve to claim that the pop icon's 3-decade-old hit Vogue is trash. Yeah, this bitch said that. So hold on, because I want to pull this, even Neighborhood Talk got in on the tea. So I said, let me just pull that up. So she said, Vogue by Madonna is such a trash record, but just based on Madonna's seriously limited vocal capabilities, Azealia told her 136,000 followers on Twitter. Martha Wash really would have sang it, or really should have sang it. She would have actually done it justice. I could even cover Vogue and give it just due in the place of gay musical lexicon. Well, girl, we don't want you to be a part of the gay musical lexicon because you the same bitch that was out here calling us a bunch of faggots. So when that comes out of your damn mouth and ain't nothing homosexual about your black ass, you should not be out here trying to call anybody any kind of F word. You need to worry about how you are going to be able to afford to pay the bills in the apartment you currently are residing in, wherever the hell your ass is, instead of trying to be up out here worrying about what Madonna and them is doing. And why are you sitting here talking about a song that's 30 years old? That's probably older than your actual age. Or you probably like maybe a couple of years older than the the song's existence. Because I don't even care to Google how old this broad is. But I know she's in her 30s. But you out here worrying about Madonna's Vogue song. And we already know that Madonna is not someone with the most spectacular voice. She's been very open about the fact that she's not the most spectacular singer. However, she uses her limitations to advantage. She took voice lessons years later when she did the whole Evita thing, has improved a lot in her singing. And yeah, we know Madonna's not the best singer, but she's taken a lot of the things that she's limited in, and she's been able to elevate that to iconic status. Now, she also said, I'm a much better singer than Madonna. Again, this is what she said. The song should not be sang by such a mid-vocalist. It's like cheese that won't melt. Oh, you talking about government cheese? But here's the thing. How many mediocre-ass singers out here have had many hits? You got a good singer voice. You can't even conjure yourself one. But you worrying about a woman who has a multitude of hits. I want to sit and have to read her whole discography. But we will if we have to. And I'm not going to sit up in here and shit on Azealia's vocals because she can sing. But what you're not going to do is try to diminish this thing, because look, this ain't the first time she did. She said, I guess because the whole Katy Perry thing, it came and went like a fart in the wind. She said her little thing, it gave her a little, situation, gave her a little yang. She got a little jolt on social media. But a couple of weeks ago, when Katy Perry said in an Australian interview that every female should thank Madonna for paving the way for them to have the career they have today. And what she was talking about is regarding of the blueprint. Then she had to bring up Grace Jones. I said nobody was comparing it to you bring up these people who, and no shade to Grace Jones. I live for Grace Jones. Grace Jones is an icon in her own right. Grace Jones is a niche artist. Grace Jones never had a career at the level of a Madonna, where it's like this global icon. Now, Grace Jones could definitely, be out here 70 years old, 70 plus, singing Nightclubbing and all her other songs, hula hooping on stage and gagging the girls. We know that. But the people she was bringing, the Donna Summer and those other songs, I said Donna Summer was a disco queen. She was a niche artist too. She only lasted in a certain specific situation and tried to break out of that. Even the whole controversy surrounding her being a homophobe, we're not going to forget about that and the things she said in regards to that. So your opinion, while it is yours, is null and void. So I did feel like, she was just naming a bunch of women who aesthetically and musically weren't doing what Madonna was doing as a way to diminish her legacy. So Katy said this. She said, she's the greatest. She paved the way. Every person, when you talk about me reaching out to younger artists, every female still needs to continue to say thank you to her because she's breaking down barriers. I'm 40 and I still get to do music because of Madonna. And it's like, yeah, you can say what you want. You can bring up all these other names. Whitney Houston, first of all, she's dead. You can bring up all these other people, and no shade to Whitney. I live for the voice. I live for Whitney. But Whitney had her own situation. Whitney was not doing what Madonna was doing. Whitney was a singer. Whitney was from the church. But she wasn't giving the type of grandiose type of shows that Madonna has done. When you look at the way people do their shows in regards of the stadium, like arena, stadium, whatever you want to call it, the way they set up their shows, telling a story through the music. These people you talking about wasn't doing all that. So, of course, the people, took issue with what Young Mouth had to say and read her ass down to the floor. Now, here's what they said. One person said, she's so cringe, yet she never come close to the artistic impact or influential iconicness that Madonna has. Another person said, okay, well, get in the studio and let's see where that career goes. This is what another person challenged. So the hypocrite called Azealia Banks just tweeted she's releasing a new song. That's why she's talking ish about Madonna to get some clout to boost her 6 streams. Child. Beyonce, yes. Little Kim, yes. She referred to herself as the Black Madonna. Janet took, and y'all may not like to hear this, but child, she about to get it too. Took major inspiration from Madonna's erotica album for her 1993 Janet album. So we're not going to sit up in here and yes, Janet does her thing in her own right, and Janet has solidified herself as an icon in other ways. However, we're not going to sit up in here and try to act like that Janet didn't take inspiration from Madonna's erotica and incorporate that with the Janet album. We're not going to do that, especially when erotica came out before Janet's album. So we're not going to sit up in here and try to act like she has not been influenced. But of course, y'all don't want to sit up here. And this is the thing that irritates me is that y'all want to act like only white people are influenced by white people. A lot of black folks who grew up with Madonna were influenced. Beyonce has talked about she was influenced during the Renaissance tour. Rihanna has even come out and said that she's been influenced by Madonna. So let's not do it. It's funny how we come with knowledge and receipts. A lot of y'all want to still start that shit. Go argue with your mammy because I don't want to hear it. I said what the fuck I said. So another person goes and says she wake up every day and start a new war with laugh emojis. So we're going to read a lot of these comments. So another person said it is one of the most acclaimed recordings of all time, and she sounds amazing on it. You would collapse a lung trying to replicate her vocal. Another person said, hashtag Madonna wrote hashtag Vogue. Madonna feels what sings making me... Wait, I can't even understand. See, this is what's going to bother me because I'm going to try to read how people write stuff. Madonna feels what sings making music because melody and words came from inside her soul. Vogue was the first single ever to be certified 2 times platinum by a female artist in US and peaked at #1 in 30 countries, 2 all-time records as 1990. You only wish. Another person said, who even are you? Half a hit wonder. Another person said, you'll never even be remotely as successful or impactful as her, mostly because you're a massive POS and I think you meant persona non grata, because of it. And what is your karma, loser? Hope that helps. Another person said, Vogue is one of the best pop songs of all time. You can't even make best song of 1 minute. Of course you want to sing timeless bops made by others. Another person said, nurse, she out again. Another person said, now you sound dumb AF. Another person said, you are still talking about Madonna, so pressed. No one else could have sang Vogue because Madonna wrote and produced a song with Shep Pettibone. It's her song. Cope harder. Madonna's the only artist where people want others to get credit for her work. Child, but this was a funny one because I'm not going to sit and read all of them. Because the last one I'll read is one said, you're really starting to sound like the mini version of Jaguar Wright on crack. I mean, quiet as it's kept. She got that crackhead mouth, that mouth look like you're doing that. Kind of like the Bobby Brown, like side jaw, like kind of going sideways. Like she definitely give me that. I told them with them giant ass cash register teeth. My jaw wide like a cash register. So but she didn't. But look, after all the dragons, she continued to double down because we got to keep feeding y'all the situation. Because she went on, she even decided to try to prop up Janet Jackson while trying to throw shade at Madonna. So she went and said this. She said, "Why is it funny if it's the truth? We don't really see it for her or see her the way you do, and that's okay. We have our own icons, niece. You're gonna drive yourself insane being mad about it. And this is not true because I see it for Britney hard. Madonna just doesn't do it for me. Okay, now let's go to bed now, child." And it's like, fine, you can have your opinion. Nobody's discounting your opinion. However, when you say the stuff you said about Vogue, is like you knew what you were saying and you knew how you were wording it because you wanted to get a rise. If you would have said those other stuff that you don't see it for her and you have a difference of opinion, that is okay. I'm not expecting everybody to be a hardcore Madonna fan or to like her stuff. But what you're not going to do is diminish her contributions to the industry. You have a right to not like who you don't like. There's a lot of artists I don't particularly care for, but if you're an icon in your own right and you put in the work and you've done the things you've done, I'm going to give you your flowers. That's only fair. But you just being a hater because you need attention. Because nobody is talking about Azealia Banks and her tired ass music. She also noted that she had only been a fan of 3 of Madonna's songs, and that she looked up to Beyonce, Janet, and Shaka Khan than Madonna. However, the internet was not satisfied as people began drawing up the rapper's old tweets of her favorite Madonna song being Love Profusion, to which she shot back in a lengthy paragraph, saying, again, this is one of the 3 songs I know. Y'all really have to get over the fact that forever white female artists have been heralded as queens and trendsetters only because the media chooses to narrate women's history through a white lens. I'm telling you, and being completely honest, I, Azealia Banks, am not, nor have I ever been, especially excited by or in awe of Madonna. Sure, this is a cool song. I play it maybe once or every 2 years. I'm telling you, her music, nor is whatever selective feminism she represents an integral piece to having inspired as many female artists as you think, nor changing any circumstances or knocking down barriers for anyone else but white women, period. Well, I don't know, sis, if you could speak for all these other people and just specifically label it as white women, but you can't be out here speaking for people. Speak for yourself and stop only trying to, label white girls in your narrative. So speak for yourself, bitch. That's all we asking. Now, lastly, Banks paid homage to Donna Summer and said that the disco icon is the one who laid the groundwork for displaying sexuality in pop music, saying Love to Love You, Babe predates Like a Virgin, and Donna is way more essential anthems, talent, and essential influence as far as mother of the girls go. It's okay for you not to agree, but you're not going to force me to parroting some cliched-ish about Madonna being some force of nature because she's not. Sorry, LOL. Well, she knows how to gag, y'all. But hold on, let me actually pull up this photo because I'm like, let's leave it on this situation if I can get to it. Let me pull up this picture because this was about 3 years ago when she took this photo. So you want to sit up in here and be a hater, but you ain't mind taking a photo with her daughter Lourdes. So yeah, I want to pull that up. And we're not going to diminish Donna Summer and her overall influence on music and disco. Yes, she is an icon in the disco world. And yeah, she definitely changed the game and has inspired many people. First of all, Madonna covered I Feel Love on the Confessions tour. So of course, Madonna has paid homage to Donna Summer and was inspired by her in a lot of when she does when she did her dance music era, when she did her disco music era, I should say. Because there's different genres when it comes to the dance music. But Donna Summer, her career was short-lived because she was in the disco thing. And once disco sucks and all that other stuff started, started up, she was not able to progress beyond that. She tried to get into other genres. I've seen her documentary. So I know she tried to do other things and tried to do other genres. And she was a church girl. So she was feeling a way about the sexual aspect of that genre of music. She wasn't really comfortable doing all that stuff. So Madonna, very calculated in what she was using her sexuality in her music, knew what she was doing when she was, getting caught up in that whole situation. So at least if you're going to try to come in with your reads and your comments and stuff, do your damn homework. So to wrap all this up, as I stated earlier, Madonna, makes no qualms about having the most spectacular voice. We know she can't blow like Aretha, Mariah, Celine, or Whitney. And people need to realize when we do that, when y'all talk about singers and stuff, you need to kind of let me realize, okay, so what are you comparing it to? Because I feel like a lot of people only think that if you you do the over singing, like if you're doing the Christina Aguilera with the over, the runs and all other stuff, that equates to singing. Or if you come from the church, you're automatically this amazing singer. There's levels to when it comes to being an artist. Madonna is a recording artist. Madonna is an entertainer. She's also, someone who's a creator with everything that she does, be it the visuals, the music, everything. She's very hands-on with that. So if you're trying to compare her to an Adele, Celine, or Mariah, or Whitney, that's not her ministry. So I hate when people always try to equate the only level of singing that somebody is a requirement to being a singer is those 4 that I mentioned. Plus, during her, Evita era, she actually took vocal lessons and became a better singer because of it. Also, Madonna, who's a club kid, came from the New York scene, the party scene, and had a knack for bringing the underground to the mainstream, which she did with ballroom culture. The ballroom scene, lest we forget, most recently, gave Madonna her 10s, has basically said that how she helped usher ballroom into the mainstream. She has never kind of culturally appropriated. I don't care what a lot of y'all say. Go argue with your mammy. But she has never culturally appropriated. She's always given ballroom scene a prop. She has always come back to the gays. She's always come back to the ballroom scene, and she's always given them their 10s. She even had the ballroom girls on the Celebration tour. Had a lot of drag queens. You know, she's always been that girl who's been an icon within the gay community. She's always paid respects to the community because her best, I guess her good friend who was a teacher was a gay man. Her brother was a gay man. So a lot of that world, she's always been in that. What have you done for the gay community? Or what do you contribute to the gay community besides calling us a bunch of damn faggots? So, in regards to that, let's not even get into the fact that how you be appropriating the butch wing ballroom sound with your tight ass EP 1992 that you still out here peddling. So, if you want to read Madonna about her singing, then why are her biggest hits and most of the fan favorites her ballads? So we have Crazy for You, Live to Tell, so many other songs that she has over the years. Mother and Father. She also has 40 hits that span throughout her 4-decade career. Last time I checked, you have to have some kind of singer voice if you're able to hold such a title throughout a career that spans 4 decades. So instead of getting on social media trolling when you could barely pay your damn rent, maybe try getting in the studio and working on actually getting yourself a hit that would actually go to #1. Or better yet, wash that wide ass mouth of yours with that skin bleaching soap you create in your damn bathroom. How about that? So I think I said all I need to say about this tight ass hoe. So I say all to say, what do y'all think of this story? I'm about sick of her and her trolling. She's tired through and delayed. So let me know what you think of this story in the comments down below. Oh, damn, we got a lot of comments. Let me go up. Let me go up and see what the people saying. Oh, sorry to read that. Oh, you said Katy Perry said something about Madonna that rubbed her wrong, and now this. Julia grew up and looks back at the relationship like it was a mistake. I would too. Look at him today. Mm-hmm. Well, I'm sure. Look, everybody has their regrets. I'm sure Kim regret having 4 kids, but that madman. Some white podcast called Shot 10 said this isn't allegedly that Jay-Z, RZA, DJ Khaled, Rick Ross. Oh, I've heard to you about DJ Khaled allegedly being a homosexual, and I would not be surprised. Look, I told you, gay Palestinians exist. Hey, Khaled. You know, the Bears would love him. You said one-sided feud because Madonna is paying this and that has been. See, well, exactly. Madonna hasn't responded to it, and she need not to because it's like, who is she? In the words of RuPaul, who is she? Diddy was the Liberace. I said, yeah, exactly. Diddy was the Liberace of hip hop. Well, I guess we should call it past tense, right? You said, I would bet my bottom dollar that Malik Yoba. Well, you know, if they had trans girls there, I'm surprised no T-girls came forward in this case. Maybe they did. We just don't know about it. And he said Vogue for 1990, Madonna actually was pretty good to anybody diss her vocals. Vogue sounded much fuller and better because Madonna's original voice was Lucky Star Minnie Mouse on Helium. And I wonder if that was studio trickery that they were doing to make her voice sound higher than what it was. Her favorite pop act, Britney Spears, Alien leaked and it sound bad. Oh yeah, that song Alien was terrible. But she's talking about Britney. Britney, first of all, that's why I said they're calling her the princess of pop. I'm like, first of all, if you decided to quit music, you don't get to hold any more titles to stuff. Like if you decide to like, okay, you have solidified yourself in a certain way, and it's like, okay, now I'm dead or I'm just old, I don't want to tour no more, then I get it. But you 42, 43 years old, 42, because I think she's about what, 41, 42? And you basically, the dive that Britney had, she ain't no damn princess of pop. Not anymore. And it said, I would say the princess of pop is Kylie Minogue. Because she's still at her big age of 55, still putting out music. 1991 washes Vogue, but that was AB at her best. Her music has digressed so much. Exactly. It said, and are the rappers are the rappers claiming they knew nothing about these parties? So I guess it was just Diddy and support. I'm sure a lot of them knew. A lot of them was out here trying to play dumb. Donna Summer, Beyonce, I Can Continue are all fans of Madonna. Whitney was a fan of Madonna, defending, saying, well, there was this thing that's floating around on social media, speaking of which, that somebody sent me. And let me look it up, because I was like, I don't know if I believe this. I mean, on the one hand, I would believe it, because Madonna was shady back in the day, similar to Jennifer Lopez, who did that little video in that interview back in the day where she was dissing all these actresses. It's like, sis, you are no Meryl Streep, so I don't know why you're behind Puerto Rican Meryl Streep. So I don't know why you out here trying to read people on they acting, because sis, you are not on that level. Like, you can hold, people's attention. But girl, you are not, from the David Mamet School of Acting. So relax. So I'm like, damn, what kind of, so one of my friends, so Raphael sent me Madonna from somebody called Real Mike Media, who I never heard of. So this is why I'm like, if I never heard it come from a legitimate source, I'm not believing it. So they said some headline, Madonna called Whitney Houston horribly mediocre in a letter she wrote in the 90s, now up for auction. So, they said that the letter Madonna wrote in the 90s is going up for auction. In the letter, Madonna calls Whitney Houston horribly mediocre. Well, I need to read the article and know if the letter is there or whatever. Like, I need to know what the tea is, because people just read a headline, and this is what irritates me about people. Like, people just read a headline, and I could tell when people just don't watch what I do or even read my articles. They will comment on the headline, and I'm like, I could totally tell you did not read this shit. You didn't take the time to read the article. You just comment on the headline and giving your opinion. And that's basically what I feel like it is. Like, people are just responding to a headline, and then they're going to put their own ignorance and vitriol. But it wouldn't be far-fetched to believe that Madonna would say that, because Madonna was Madoo back in the day. She was shady. And you said they even tried to shame Madonna Vogue, saying she sampled Chef Petitbone's remix. Only problem is Express Yourself remix came out in the summer. Miss You Much remix by Chef came out in '89. But then he produced both songs. So, sometimes, and I've always thought about this, when you have certain producers, their stuff start to sound a little too similar, or they have like a similar type of sound that they use, and they just pass it on to other artists, and then their music starts sounding similar. It's the same thing with, like, when we talk about Shakespeare, like, all his stuff started sounding like his watered down, Timbaland beats. All his music started sounding like Rich Harrison had that signature horn sound. All his stuff started sounding like when he started working with everybody from Beyonce to, A. Marie, Beyonce, Jennifer Lopez, a bunch of them. So it's always like that with a lot of these producers. I'm not going to say all, because one thing about Pharrell always changed his sound. It was always something new, fresh, and different. He always pushed the envelope when it came to his music, but you could always kind of sort of tell if it was a Pharrell song, because it was futuristic. That was the only thing that they had in common. Other than that, all his songs sounded different for the most part. But there was always producers out there. It's like, so I'm not surprised that, people will sit up there and make that argument, but y'all need to do your Google or schmoogle and check the dates, because I don't know how you're going to say something sounded like Janet Jackson when Madonna preceded her with that song. Or whatever. So I grew up listening to his remixes, and he was my first inspiration, made me want to get into remixing. Madonna wasn't feminine or submissive in her sexual. Well, that's why she took after Marlene Dietrich, because Marlene Dietrich exuded a sort of feminine masculinity, where she wore the suits and all that stuff. And I believe Marlene Dietrich was a lesbian too, so I can see why she took from her, because it's like exuded that masculinity, or as Billy Porter would say, masculinity. This said Madonna was a feminine and submissive in her sexuality when she promoted Rebel Heart on Grindr. She put her position as, speaking of which, they mentioned this. I was watching Dragula yesterday, and they mentioned this all-inclusive, how you doing app. That's like Grindr or whatever. I never heard of them. And so, yes, I don't remember the name. But I got to call my friend too, because the person that got eliminated yesterday, they told me a story that they apparently threw the makeup of one of the queens in the garbage, and they wound up getting eliminated. But I'm like, I don't think that's true, because that person got exterminated last night. So I don't know if this story is true. But then, they said that someone said that impacted Little Kim, Rihanna, and Pink. Well, yeah, it's like when you're not used to seeing a woman exude like a woman who's defined as feminine, or a woman who's a woman, period, exuding a sense of masculinity and using it as a strength and a way to like combat herself through the entertainment industry, because, you know, as they say, it's a man's world and all that other stuff. Then then it's like you're gonna look at girls and be like, oh, so a woman can be powerful and use masculine traits to basically suck all the oxygen out of the room and let it be known, like, don't play with me. And you could use that as a power. And I think a lot of women, like you mentioned, like a Little Kim or Rihanna or Pink and many others, or Katy Perry, whoever, will look at that as a strength and use that and incorporate that in what they do. The thing with Donna Summer, she did albums throughout the 80s. Then in 91, she put out her album Mistaken Identity. Then after that, she didn't do a full album until Crayons in 2008, which was great. And then but in so many ways, then she came back to the whole, you know, she did the dance music, and she always played in that world. And I remember like she started doing stuff with Thunder Puss and all of them. Like when that whole situation was going on in the gay clubs, we were still giving her work, even after the stories that I would hear about, you know, the comments about AIDS. As they're dominant in bed, not submissive. They're into men who are submissive to their needs. Hence why, I guess you're saying, hence why she's single. Men aren't into that part of the bedroom. Well, men don't like to be dominated. Y'all better recognize, as having a light voice should not be conflated. Hey, Nestle. He said having a light voice should not be conflated with being a bad singer. You can have a light voice and be a great singer, but that don't apply. But yeah, Kylie Minogue has a light voice. She could sing. That's what I say. You take your strengths that work, or you take your limitations and you figure out what works for you. You can find ways of becoming a singer and making it work for you, even if you don't have the strongest of voices. But yeah, these days, Madonna voice is not giving what needs to be given. Back in the day, she was like a better singer. Even during the reinvention tour, she was, you know, given the vocals. Also during the Drowned World tour, like a lot of that time, like the voice was voicing. Even during the Confessions tour. But later on in the years, you know, if you go by her dances, Kevin, the other two wanted royalties from the Truth or Dare documentary. That's all it was. They felt horrible for how the media portrayed the lawsuit. Yeah, I remember hearing that. What hurt Donna was her, yeah, definitely. Even if it was true or not true. And I know they try to debunk it in the documentary that I believe came on HBO Max. I don't know if it helped. Yeah, she did out her dancer brother. I mean, she danced the dancer and the brother. She did out Christopher. And that was mentioned. But look, they patched things up in the end because Chris was living with her at her house was living in her house in LA. Madonna stays in New York and sometimes London and other places. And even Portugal, she has a house out there. But she was in New York. Her brother was in LA getting all the care during his, you know, secret cancer situation. So she was actually taking care of her brother. They admit she did, but from what I read, that kiss in Truth or Dare was very groundbreaking. Well, yes, it was, because we never seen nothing like that, especially in the 90s. Two men kissing on screen in the 90s during the height of the AIDS epidemic. Like, that was something we never saw before. And then showing, like, it's okay to be. And I think that's why many gay men gravitated towards Madonna, because as far as I can remember, I think, like, as far as a pop artist, she was the first one that made people, especially in my generation, feel like it's okay to be yourself without judgment. We speak highly of Madonna. She said she respected her and admired her work ethic. You said Impressive did a video on the Madonna Whitney thing. So why is it still resurfacing? I guess because if it's on Facebook, people are bored and say they need something to talk about. She went through so much. She was asked what was she into sexually, what turned her on, and she gave what people wanted in the erotic album in that book. How was she supposed to know that wasn't what they wanted? And Madonna even said the success of Mariah Carey was the dumbing of America. Was that a read? When it said the 1980s was very much anarchist, fuck the patriarchal system and the Bible and Reagan era, to being very conservative. And they want us to go back to that in the 90s where sex wasn't existed. And if y'all let that other idiot get in office and Project 2025 happen, we might as well just become a bunch of eunuchs. And as I honestly do believe, it went very progressive or conservative when 1990 began. It was like, I don't know if we can remember a time when we weren't conservative. I always felt the world was relatively conservative as a whole. But whatever. But I guess it feels different when you're a liberal person or you live in a liberal city. Okay, so let's move on. Let's talk about Lipo Lee, because he out here got Beyonce name on his mouth. So on his latest podcast, media personality and thirsty attention seeker Jason Lipo Lee claims that Beyonce and Jay-Z's team reached out to him regarding the latest legal drama regarding Diddy. So, I noticed this stories are making the rounds and all this other stuff, and I'm sitting there like, well, why the hell would they call him, of all people? In regards of this, because he took to his page. I don't know if I even want to play it because I feel like I would just roll my eyes through the whole video. So during the latest episode of his podcast, Hollywood Unlocked, Lee addressed the situation, and then he had this little queen sitting across from him that was just cackling, salivating. I'm like, who are these lame asses that's on this screen? But anyway, so he said, Jay-Z, I know you're watching because you got people calling me. Stop having people call me. You can call me yourself. You know how to get my number. You got people calling me. Call me yourself. How many times you got to say call me in this goddamn paragraph? Call me yourself, because this right here is going to go viral. So clearly you're looking to go viral by keeping Jay and Bay's name in your mouth. He said, I will tell you to the audience, if I do come up missing, all the calls I've been getting have been about him. Lee did know that he hasn't received any threatening calls. So why the hell would he say that? So why the hell are you out here trying to perpetuate a narrative that you're going to end up missing in a ditch somewhere, like Jay-Z is another goon that's out here just making people disappear? Because clearly you want attention. Because clearly Beyonce continues to pay you dust. You look pathetic chasing her around that party back when you was, pre-lipo, running around the place trying to get her autograph or get a photo with her. Then it's like when you don't get, the A-listers don't pay you dust and won't give you an interview. We've seen how you work. You trash people you also trash other bloggers and YouTubers because you want all the attention on you, but that's a whole nother conversation for a whole nother day. Then you go and you create all these little situations. Every time you have a conversation on your thing, you have to let everybody know who you're friends with. You gotta let people know you're friends with Cardi B, you're friends with Tiffany Haddish, you're friends with this celebrity, you're friends with that celebrity. Who freaking cares? And you're mad that Beyonce won't pay you, that pays you dust. And then we know that you bought the ticket to the Renaissance tour. You was not getting invited by Beyonce. She wasn't sending you a gift basket like she was sending T.S. Madison and the rest of them. So you're mad because you're outside the club and you can't get in the words of Chris Brown. So that's what you're mad about, that Beyonce is paying you dust. But why would she give you what you want? And the thing is, when it comes to these bloggers, influencers, whatever, I feel like a lot of them, he's sort of a quid pro quo type. That's what he gives me. Like, to me, he's like the high yellow version of Perez Hilton. And yes, I know over the years that Perez Hilton has found a way to rehabilitate his image. I know people still trash him or whatever the case was, but Perez has put in the work of trying to rehabilitate his image and not being perceived as the person that he once was. Or he used to draw like penises and stuff on people's pictures and stuff. And then the biggest person I believe he became friends with, most famous person he became friends with, was Lady Gaga. And then they had that nasty falling out. So I feel like when it comes to Jason Lee, that he gives he has to pull some sort of stunt or whatever to be friends with these celebrities. Me, I'm like Wendy Williams. I talk about the celebrities. I close the blinds and I go about my business. I'm not trying to be friends with these celebrities. I've been around enough celebrities to know how the game is played. I don't have no interest in wanting to hobnob and rub elbows and wanting to have Rihanna's number in my phone or whatever and then brag about it on my show. I'm not trying to pull no stunts or try to blackmail people into being my friend because you got some tea on them and that's the only way that you could be friends with these people. So he was over here threatening that there was some tea that he has that he was going to drop and all this other stuff, and basically talking about how they're calling him about Diddy. Now, why the hell would they call him about Diddy? This sounds like the same foolish that you trying to jump on this bandwagon because Jaguar Wright took herself over there to them white folks and finally got some attention. And that's when their lawyer decided to sick their, teeth, their fangs into Piers Morgan and them over there, which forced Piers Morgan to facilitate an apology. So now you're like, let me try to see if I can get a little attention. So now the blogs is talking about you. So now people are talking about your show because quiet as it's kept. I don't know anybody out here talking about Jason Lee's show. Yeah, you got Hollywood Unlocked, and yeah, you're doing what you're doing with your award show. You're giving it out to people like Jonathan Majors, whose career is pretty much in the toilet. Except now I heard that movie that he has where he was playing the bodybuilder finally got a distributor, and it's about to come out in the movies. It'll probably flop like The Apprentice, because I hear that it's by the same production company. But for the most part, nobody cares. But we already talked about all the lawsuits and stuff from earlier in regards of Diddy, so we don't have to regurgitate that again. But my thing is that I don't believe one word coming out of this thirsty queen's mouth. Now, why would Jay and Bay call someone who's called their own daughter Blue Ivy nappy-headed? Because he said that about her. But you want Jay and Bay to call you? You want Jay to call you to find out the tea on what's been going on regards to this whole Diddy situation? Also, why would they want to contact him of all people about what's going on with the diddler? Because if they summon their lawyer to go after Piers Morgan, I'm sure they aren't having anyone on their team comparing some small fish in a big pond. So, like, if he's looking to go viral, then why not post the receipts? If Jay-Z's team is contacting you, then post the receipts. So I'm sick of people trying to create imaginary scenarios because you're not in the conversation like so many other YouTube pundits and other media personalities are. You trying to be Wendy Williams. You don't have the range. You don't. You don't have the wherewithal. You're not that entertaining. You got to have co-hosts to sit beside you, sitting there salivating at the mouth and like agreeing to every damn thing you saying. You try to sabotage other people's careers. I don't live by this shit, so I can say whatever the hell I want. I make my money other ways. So I just feel like Jason has always been trash. I never liked him. I've always felt that he's very opportunistic. I don't like braggers. I don't like people that get on social media always want to sit and brag about I have this friend. Okay, so what's the price? What's that got to do with the price of tea in China? I've been hobnobbing and been around enough celebrities, and I'm like, I'm not impressed by this mess. So if that's what you feel the need to make yourself feel whole as a human being, because clearly you can't fill it with food, so you got to fill it with other things, then you go ahead and do that, niece. So I say, let's say, what do y'all think of this story? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below. You said Donna Summer even worked with Stock Aitken Waterman, but unless you were Kylie Minogue, the gays weren't checking for the Saw era. Yeah, I mean them, Rick Astley, so many other people, like so many people benefited from the Saw music. And you said all this because Miss Mama's trying to duck you at a brunch. Okay, she ain't want to look because Beyonce. We Virgos. We know an opportunist when we see one, and she ducked. Beyonce wasn't trying to get up in that. She finally gave in and gave him the picture, just send him on his merry way. But she was trying to avoid that. And when you got a thirst bucket like that old queen running around a party trying to Beyonce, give me a picture, please take a photo with me, be my friend. Like when you got somebody doing that, it's like, girl, you are pathetic. She do pay everybody does, except her mama, Kelly and Michelle. And said didn't 106 get canceled completely because they were so upset Karuchi was there and called Blue Nappy. I don't believe they said that, but about their own daughter. I don't know if that was true. I just think that 106 and Park got canceled because there was no room for it anymore. People were just over that whole style of entertainment. Like I just felt like it died right along with TRL. But I don't know if that had anything to do with it. I wouldn't be surprised if it did, but yeah. But anyway, let me cleanse myself of that old tired ass heifer. And let's get into it. Well, Chad, I can't even cleanse myself with this story because now we got to get into this Shangela story. I was like, ooh, just when I thought I was not going to be feeling icky anymore. Now we got to talk about this story. So shout out to Bob the Drag Queen and Monét X Change because they finally, gave their overall thoughts on this whole Shangela SA story. So they finally addressed it and broke the silence regarding the SA allegations against former drag queen Shangela on the latest episode of their podcast, Sibling Rivalry. Now, it all started when on the latest episode titled The One About Diddy, Bob and Monét were discussing all the allegations surrounding disgraced music mogul Diddy when the queens began to pivot and weigh in on the allegations surrounding Shangela. Now let's take a gander over to YouTube, and I want to play out this clip of the queens talking about their former drag race sister and them giving their overall thoughts about it. Please hold.
A lot of allegations coming out about a lot of people. I have never discussed this on the podcast before, but obviously there were allegations against one of my co-stars on We're Here. Mm-hmm. And I think that some people have taken my silence as some form of allyship, or someone even accused me of quote unquote working overtime to silence victims, which seems really wild to me personally, a really wild accusation. But the truth is that I'm not working overtime to silence anyone. I just literally did not know what was going on. I did not want to spread rumors, especially one that I was that close to, but I certainly stand with, the 6 people is incredibly damning. And I certainly hope that these people get the justice that they need. I can't even imagine what it's like to see a person who did something like that to you on TV, just like, getting their tens or dancing at the club next to you. You know what I mean?
Pablo Rain, foxtrotting, box stepping on a ABC Dance with the Stars.
So that would fuck me up mentally. You know what I mean? But I just don't want anyone to think that was me being like, I support like that. But also, people jump to conclusions on the internet, which I understand for them, but it doesn't always make a ton of sense. But sometimes when we're feeling emotional, we don't always make the most sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think what was really crazy was one recently, the person who was Donna the Abbey, and they posted that video about something that happened on the set of Hurricane Bianca, and then Bianca commented on their video. She's like, "I'm so sorry that happened to you." I don't remember exactly what Bianca said, but she basically posted a message of support of the person on their post, because it allegedly happened on Bianca's set of her movie.
Yeah.
Not on the set of her movie, but during the filming of her movie, I should say. Sorry.
I just don't understand. Can I tell you all something that I feel like is really important to great sex and great sexual encounters? These 2 words together: an enthusiastic yes. An enthusiastic yes. If I'm looking at someone, I'm never going to try to convince anyone of anything. Mm-hmm. Like, if you're not enthusiastic about it, then maybe we're not. If I'm not enthusiastic about it, if you're not enthusiastic about it, then maybe we need to just take a break and do something else, or separate and not do anything at all. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel that. I think with people in power, obviously there's some through line of people in power, and we're seeing a lot of in sexual dynamics, this thing of someone with power having more power. And I know there is things like dom and sub, and that's the thing that goes on, but both people are consenting to that type of sexual relationship and agreement. So that's one thing. But I think what we're seeing is people with power trying to exercise that dom thing over someone who is not consenting to be a sub in the way that they want them to. And they're using coercion and drugs and thing to will them into what they want sexually, which is a problem.
Yeah, so I think they were pretty much done at that point, and that's why I wanted, because they were going to go into a transition to another conversation. But I do agree with a lot of the queens. I'm glad that they came out and they finally said what they said, and I'm glad that Bob took the time to actually gain enough information before being so quick to jump on social media. And I think that a lot of times when it comes to people who are public figures, you can't just be someone who automatically just jumps online and gives their overall opinion. I stand with the victims and Shangela's trash. And it's because she's close to her. So she knows, certain situations. And I have friends who know Shangela, who have worked with Shangela and have had those same gripes that Bob has, meaning well, I've worked with this person a couple of times. They don't look like they would be capable of this sort of thing. And I don't know how I feel about this. Like, do I still want to, like, it's not always about the collaboration, but it's just sort of like taking a step back and wanting to take that moment of like, just let me hear all the facts. Let me know what's going on before I jump to a conclusion. And when you are close to the person, sometimes you do need to take a beat and look into some things before you come to an overall conclusion. And I'm liking the fact that Bob finally came and said, you know what, I stand with the victims, regardless of what the situation is. Now, if Shangela want to feel the kind of way, oh well, argue with your mammy or tell it to your priest, like figure it out in other ways. But I always will, you know, as a person, will stand with the victims. So, you know, I'm totally here with what Bob had to say on that story. And yeah, and then another thing I guess we should probably talk about is this whole thing about R-ing people, like sexually assaulting people. Like, to me, it's just like, yeah, we have seen this ongoing thing. I don't want to call it a trend because trend will be an ugly word for it, but this ongoing thing of people who just use and exude their power over people. And if that's a kink that y'all have or whatever, if you got a rape kink or whatever, like there's some people who are into that sexually. But the only difference is it's consenting adults agreeing to that situation. For you to pull the same thing that allegedly Diddy was doing and putting and drugging people and they're passed out and you're assaulting them and things of that nature, when you pull those type of stunts, then yeah, you should be called into question over the things have you done. But then I should also refresh your memory on the situation. You know, Rolling Stone did an investigation released in March of this year. 5 people alleged that Pierce had SA'd or attempted to assault them. All of the accusers said they were between the ages of 18 and 23 when the alleged assaults took place, describing a pattern of being too inebriated to consent to having sex when Pierce first approached them, following by continuing advances after saying no. That investigation followed a May of 2023 lawsuit from Damien McGarrigle, a former assistant, drag race, and production assistant of HBO's We're Here, that was settled and dismissed in February of this year, as Deadline reported. Now, Rolling Stone article also detailed 5 additional sexual assault cases were published in March of 2024, but no further lawsuits have been brought forward. However, last month, we did talk about it on this show, that Dakota Payne took to his Instagram to reveal that he also was SA'd by Shangela. I did post a link to that. Well, I did post it on my page and it's kind of been blocked off or whatever. So it's like you can go over to Dakota's page if you haven't seen it and check it out. But I have a previous episode that I did. I think I did clip it. You can check my TikTok or you can even check my YouTube. I did put it as a segment. It's up there if you want to watch it and give your overall thoughts on that situation. But it's like, yeah, Dakota Payne recently came out and said something. And then also a friend of mine who recently just did an interview a couple of weeks ago. I ain't going to reveal who it is, but he just did an interview a couple of weeks ago with Masculine Jason, who was an adult content creator. And also he interviews other content creators who make adult films. He told me in private that he was also assaulted by Shangela. And he's an adult film star. And so that's the second one, because Dakota Payne is also someone who does adult films and was assaulted. So, and then, but people, you know, aren't going to believe sexual, you know, people who perform sexual acts for a living, because y'all think, oh, because, well, you make porn, so you should be grateful that somebody wants you or touches you or whatever. But just because I do sexual content for a living does not give you autonomy of my body. So you need to get permission, and I need to be into you. And people don't want to believe the thing because Shangela looked like she's about 5'2", but it's like I've known many little people that got the strength of, you know, a god, or David. Of Goliath, I should say. I was trying to think of a biblical term. It's got the strength of Goliath, and you know, will take advantage of people in certain situations. It don't matter the size. People, you never know what people are capable of in certain situations. So people need to stop, you know, looking at people based off of a look, a size, sexual orientation, a gender, or whatever, and think that that people aren't capable. I don't trust nobody to a point where it's like, I look at everybody, you know, in the words of Randy Meeks, everybody's a suspect. Like, I look at everybody in that sort of way. So I sort of say kudos to, Bob and Monét for expressing their opinion and for speaking out on this. And kudos to the many more that are, speaking out about their experiences of being SA'd by Shangela. Because if you have a story, you should definitely come forward. But yeah, nobody's pressed charges. It's probably a lot of drama. And, like I said, kudos to y'all. If you want to see the full episode, definitely check it out on YouTube. I did link it on my page. So I want to hear your thoughts on this. Let me know in the comments down below. Okay, so before we get to the comments and the next couple of topics, because we have 3 more topics, please do me a favor if you have not already and hit that like button, that subscribe, and also be sure to smash that notification button so that way you know when we go live with a brand new episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered. And so Felix says, why did they wait so long to say anything? Wasn't Monét friends with Shangela? Well, yeah, Bob was, because we're here. Monét, I'm sure she's run into Shangela on different occasions. Sidebar, I gotta ask a friend of mine, did Shangela attend Laganja Estrange's recent coming out party? So for those of you who don't know, and I'm about to spill some tea. So Laganja Estrange over the weekend in LA just did a coming out as a trans woman. Like, she fully got body makeover, everything. I heard that her parents were via satellite. It was a surprise party, but she knew about it because she invited some people that I know that were there. Also, what else? Oh, so also who was via satellite was Alyssa Edwards. And Shangela is a part of the House of Edwards, so was Laganja. And I know Laganja has commented on something Shangela posted on Instagram a couple of weeks ago, was giving her 10s or whatever the case was. So I do wonder if she was actually at that event. I didn't find that out, but I also heard that Gia Gunn was there. And Gia was a part of the House of Edwards as well. So a lot of the House of Edwards was invited. But if Shangela wasn't there, I would say that's either very telling, and she's trying to distance herself from that situation, or she couldn't make it. So I need to find out that tea. Regarding that. And you saying I knew Bob was because we're here. Also, Shan being a femme queen makes it so people are less. Exactly. And I think it's femphobia. It's the fact that just because you see somebody who's effeminate and gay, y'all think that you equate it with a woman being weak, lesser than. So it's hard for people to believe, because women out here saying people too. But y'all don't want to look at that. Y'all look at that as a rite of passage and things of that nature. So it's just the overall phobia. I mean, not phobia. It's the biases that a lot of us have when it comes to what is it, unconscious bias or those things that we have to take when we do the training in regards of sexual harassment and things of that nature. We need to. It's just it's just a mess. I saw Hellbent. I saw that eons ago, but it's good that it's on Here TV. It needs to be on the other streaming services, but they want us to subscribe to that channel. Okay, so let's get into this topic. So there's a former Drag Race star was slammed by the queens for endorsing Trump. So before we get to that one, I just want to put this picture up because I was like, this basically just showed Mama Rue's face of disappointment while we get into this topic. Because I don't know if y'all heard this story, but we can get into it. So it's not an actual Drag Race queen, it's a former judge. So former RuPaul's Drag Race judge, Santino Rice, has been slammed by queens and winners of the franchise after endorsing Donald Trump for the U.S. presidency. Well, because nobody's talking about him, he needs attention. So best known for appearing as a contestant on Bravo's Project Runway in 2005, and then as one of RuPaul's regular right-hand judges on Drag Race from seasons 1 through 6, with a guest spot on season 7, Santino Rice has largely slipped from the public's consciousness until 2015. Every now and again, though, Rice pops up to make a statement or two, and his latest hasn't gone down well with fellow Drag Race alumni. Now, basically said, I would love to see an intelligent and capable woman president someday. Kamala Harris is not her. This is what he wrote on Twitter. There's only one obvious candidate to rebuild America and stabilize the rest of the world. That is President Donald J. Trump. Now, multiple queens have slammed Rice's comment, including Drag Race UK winner, the Vivian. And here's what I'll say on this before I get to their comments. He had 4 years to do what he needed to do to make America great again and to help the economy. And so why y'all trying to act like this man wasn't president once before? Like, I know y'all want to sit and act like January 6th didn't exist, and y'all want to act, blind or, act like you're slow or whatever the case was. You got selective amnesia. But he ran the country for 4 years before. And what did he have to show for it? Not a damn thing. So you think another 4 years is going to help? He couldn't win the last time. And because y'all was mad over what his lack of work ethic or lack of actually moving the country in the right direction. He was just being an internet troll. Quiet as it's kept, from the stuff I heard, he was barely showing up to the meetings. That came from Alyssa Farrah Griffin. Now, UK-based winner Lawrence Cheney also reacted to the post, telling Rice to sashay away in reference to Drag Race's iconic phrase. Rice's Twitter profile contains several posts in support of Trump and slamming Harris, including one saying that calling Harris the R word is offensive to retards. He also shared several AI-generated images of Kamala Harris holding a gun in her mouth. Now, and he's still on Twitter? Whoa, I forgot, because Elon Musk owns Twitter, and Elon Musk is out here literally licking Trump's dirty taint and dingleberry covered ass. He also is opposed to that, and this is why I think that he got in trouble before, because he's an anti-vaxxer, and I believe he said this years ago. Talking about there's no difference between injecting disinfectant and a random vaccine. This is the same one that's following somebody that told people to inject bleach. Now, Trump's campaign has also included multiple attacks on the queer community, including the baseless claim that Democratic nominee Kamala Harris was conducting transgender operations on illegal aliens in prison. Now, child, if that was going on, would we have known about it? What the hell is he doing? Well, he would know, because when he actually go to prison, he'll probably get to see that happen. It's not a real thing, but I'm just saying. Now, a far-right faction of the Republican Party has also proposed a manifesto named Project 2025, which claims that one of the biggest problems facing U.S. today is the toxic normalization of transgenderism, with drag queens and porn invading school libraries. That we know damn well that's not what's in these libraries. Project 2025, published by the headline Right-Wing Heritage Foundation, pledges to strip away anti-discrimination policies, making it easier to target and discriminate against LGBTQ plus people. Not only that, but they discriminate against Black people too. Because if you watch that Roland Martin episode that he clipped on his YouTube channel, there's a woman that actually read all 900 plus pages and breaks down a lot of what is in Project 2025. And what they're planning on doing is stripping away a lot of rights of Black people, especially when it comes to voter registration. So a lot of y'all better wake up and pay attention. It's not just the gays that are going to be affected. It's going to be Black people. It's going to be women. And a lot of you self-hating Latinos, y'all going to be affected too. So go vote for him if you want to. And, Harris has meanwhile been endorsed by Taylor Swift, Charlie XCX, Billie Eilish, and a bunch of other Republicans, including, what the hell's her name? Liz Cheney. Speaking of the Cheneys, not Lawrence Cheney, but I'm sure Lawrence Cheney, if he could vote here, he would endorse her. So Liz Cheney and her father, Dick. Also, it just came out earlier that Geraldo Rivera is endorsing Kamala Harris. That's supposed to be his good friend. It's supposed to be Trump. But Geraldo just came out and endorsed not Donald Trump. He's endorsing Kamala. So when you have Republicans who are tired of his BS and all this long-winded craziness, they asking him in an interview about childcare. He goes on this whole other tangent about something else. He don't never answer the question because he has no answer for what he's going to do for the country. And to me, I would say this. If there was a Republican on the other side that fit my values more so than Kamala, I would vote for a Republican. Only because I don't feel like, you have to just vote down the ballot just because it's my civil duty to vote for this person just because. If you listen to the parties and one fits more of the narrative of what you are looking for as an American, you vote down that ballot. You vote down that ballot. If a Republican came the next term and had more values of where I align with, and you actually were thinking about LGBTQIA plus rights and elevating us, which y'all don't have a plan for that. If you were elevating Black folks, which y'all not, you got a bunch of Sambos tap dancing for you. But y'all don't have a clear answer. You don't have a clear idea. Kamala Harris, whether you want to believe it or not, has a clear idea on what she's going to do. Whether you agree with the stuff or not. And miss me with the whole, I'm just only voting for, the thing because it's against, what they're doing to the Palestinians. You know how long we've been in bed with Israel? But that's the one thing that you're going to hold against this lady? And we don't know what she's going to do when she gets in office. But look, Y'all sit out here and do your woulda, coulda, shouldas and watch the America burn because you want to fold your arms and frown and all of a sudden want to wake up to use this situation now as a way that y'all want to wake up and do something about politics. All of a sudden, everybody want to wake up and get political when democracy is at stake. And you could say that I don't know what the hell I'm talking about, whatever it is, or I'm using fear taxes, believe what you want. But when the world burns, sit at home and just do what you're going to do, which is nothing. And Santino, go back in the hole in which you crawled out of. Because nobody ain't checking for you. You ain't had a job since they fired your ass from, the show. You brought absolutely nothing to the table. The girls have always read your tired ass down to the floor. And you're a chop. So I sort of say, what do you think of this story? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below. Exactly. He has concepts, but no actual plan. And he even admitted to that. I have concepts of a plan. What the fuck does that mean? If you got a plan, let people know what the plan is. But you got people still drinking the Jim Jones Kool-Aid. This mother father left his people stranded in Coachella. The bus didn't come back because he ain't paid a bill. His people didn't pay them buses to bring them there and bring them back. So that's why they got left. But meanwhile, they're going to sit up here and blame Kamala. Now, you can have your feelings and beliefs and whatever about her politically. But what we're not going to do is sit up in here and run around with a lie and say that she took all the oil out of the gas stations. Like what? You can't pull oil like that. I mean, ask RuPaul with all that fracking he lets going on in his spot in Wyoming. I mean, that is how you pull oil from the ground, which is what causes the earthquakes and things. And then he's aligning himself with dictators who are laughing at him. China's laughing at him, although he want to put all the tariffs on them. And then you out here hobnobbing with Putin, which come to find out he sent all our damn COVID vaccine and stuff over to Russia. What the hell they need it for? But meanwhile, we got many of my friends who died from COVID complications. You expect me to vote for a man that literally co-signed people I know dying from COVID? SMD is what I'll say on that. But anyway, let me calm down because I just can't with how stupid some people. And I know people get, well, when you calling me because you are. If you're gonna vote for that man and the things he stands for, and all the stuff, you're an idiot. I'm not one of them people over there at the other, these other channels where they go low, we go high, and I'm gonna spare your feelings. You're an idiot. I give it to you straight with no chaser. I'm not sitting there coddling, people that are dumb. You're a dummy, bitch. In the words of my girl Monét. But anyway, let's get into these other topics. Let's lighten up the load. Let's talk about Miss Michelle Visage, who I had no idea she was in an open marriage, but she's spilling tea. So kudos to her. And shout out to her because now I noticed that because she's hosting Drag Race Down Under, she's trying to look every bit the drag queen. So now RuPaul's Drag Race judge Michelle Visage has spilled the tea on her open marriage with husband David Case. Visage, who is best known for appearing as a judge on the many iterations of the RuPaul's Drag Race franchise, including the current airing horrible 6th season. Drag Race UK is not suck, but she's on that horrible ass show. What was it? The Drag Race World Global All Star. I can't wait for that to be over. I think we got maybe another week or two. This show is trash. I can't wait for it to be over. But if y'all get a season 2, y'all definitely need to step y'all pussies up in regards to that show. Otherwise, just cancel it. Because if y'all going to continue with the American bias of the show, then we don't want it. Now, speaking of Kush Jumbo on the Origins with Kush Jumbo podcast, Visage shared that having an open relationship with her husband, David Case, whom she married in 1997, makes their marriage stronger. Saying he works drag cons with me and he comes to all these things with me. And listen, my husband's quite good looking, so the gay men have let it be known that he's quite good looking, Visage says before explaining Case's knack for compersion, receiving pleasure due to someone else receiving pleasure. Oh, she says, so he beams with pride. He's got that thing down. I think you call it compersion. We live openly, so he would get off knowing that I was happy, and no matter what it is that I do, and I'm not just talking sexually, whatever it is, I don't know if I have compersion in me or be really excited if he's doing something with another woman, but I know that it exists and he's 100% that. In response, Kush said, it's like giving you the opportunity to have the space to feel like you never had to hide any piece of yourself. And she said, and I don't, and neither does he, with whom she has, and she has 2 children with him. Well, I like the fact that she's very open with her husband. Well, guess what? Her husband is good looking. Let's go and take a gander over to what he looked like. There he is. I was like, okay, Michelle. Hey, Michelle. In the words of, Barack Obama. So she said that sometimes that hurts, but that's what makes us stronger. The full transparency is the way we live our lives completely. And by the way, sometimes it's not even necessary. It's just meaning we don't do anything. It's just the ability to be able to, and that's what works for us. Though she has been a permanent judge in RuPaul's Drag Race, as well as the show's UK version and also a spinoff, since season 3 in 2011, Visage has set to host Drag Race Down Under without RuPaul for the first time ever. Well, I actually hope that version is good because I'm going to be honest, I could never get into RuPaul's Drag Race Down Under episodes. I just felt like they were lackluster for me. So maybe Michelle can bring a little something extra to that franchise. We'll see when it comes out. I'm going to give it a chance, but I never really truly I could never fully invest in Down Under. It was just a miss for me. But hopefully it'll work better under her. But I do like this idea of you know what? I don't think she's mentioned that with me reading this. I think she says they like the gratification of knowing that they could be open, but they're not necessarily open. I don't know if she's saying that she sleeps with other men and then he sleeps with other women. But I love the fact that they're open and transparent about, you know what? People are not property. You don't own me. I'm not your toy. It's like, you don't own these people. They're not your property. See, he's not property. It's like, where my girls at? They're not, he's not your property. That this person is whatever it is. And it's like, but you have to come to that understanding. And I like the fact that she's just being open and honest about her relationship, because I was like, we didn't really know much about her husband. And I don't think she's really been that open and honest about her relationship. But I like the fact that because she's getting all this attention now, and now she's set to host Drag Race Down Under, that she is being more open about her marriage and her relationship, and the fact that, there is some jealousy in the situations, but it's just like they talk through it and all that other stuff. And she doesn't act like she owns him. So I say all to say, what did y'all think of this story? I mean, I don't know. To each his own. I say whatever works for you, works for you. I'm not judging. If you could stomach having an open relationship, then that's great. If you can't, then that's great as well. But, like I said, to each his own. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. As you said, I get my Brat remix album 2 CD set tomorrow without the Spring Breakers remix with Kesha. Oh wait, there's probably a 2 CD set because one CD has the remixes, the other CD is the original copy. But like I said, on Apple Music, I get all of it in one package. It's like the remixes play first and then it goes into the regular album stuff. So I'm sure they added Spring Breakers to that mix. That's why I'd rather just stream, and I'll support the artists in other ways. But I'm glad you're out here still buying physical media. Okay, so here's the final topic. I'm going to talk about Louis Pullman, who has thrown his hat in the ring in regards of wanting to replace Joaquin Phoenix in Todd Haynes' explicit gay romance movie. So we already talked about a couple of months ago, or not even, it was last month, September, that Joaquin Phoenix was supposed to do this gay romance movie that was supposed to also star Danny Ramirez, who I've just been noticing a lot. I'm like, oh, he's a cutie. So they were supposed to play lovers in, I believe, 1940s Mexico City, something or another. Days literally before they were supposed to go and start shooting the film, Joaquin pulls out, which of course pissed off a lot of the investors. You had one of the producers that came in and tried to make excuses, whatever the case was. But the movie so far is DOA. So now Louis Pullman, who you may not know the name, but he recently starred in Salem's Lot, which you can watch on HBO Max, says that he wants to play the role. He's also the son of Bill Pullman, the actor who, played the president in Independence Day. So he, another Nepo baby. But let's continue. So Salem's Lot actor Louis Pullman is throwing his hat in the ring regarding the untitled queer film Joaquin Phoenix abandoned days before shooting. So back in May of 2023, the Dark Waters director Todd Haynes announced that he was working with the Napoleon star on an NC-17 gay romance drama. The next film was a feature that is an original script that I developed with Joaquin Phoenix based on some thoughts and ideas he brought me. This is what I think it meant Haynes revealed to IndieWire. They made a mistake and said Pullman, but I was like, Lewis Pullman had no idea about this. So this is a mistake on Gay Tom's part. Look at me corrected while mid-read. They said, we basically wrote with him as a story writer. Me and John Raymond and Joaquin share the story credit, and we hope to be shooting it the beginning of next year. It's a gay love story set in 1930s LA. A week later, Assassination Nation star Danny Ramirez joined the film as Phoenix's love interest, with Deadline describing the characters as intense lovers who embark on a journey from California to Mexico. Okay, so I did get the Mexico part right. So while it seemed like everything was going according to plan, the project hit a major roadblock when Phoenix abruptly left the project in August. According to Variety, a source alleged that the Gladiator star got cold feet due to the star's graphic sex scenes, or the film's. But, sir, you came up with this, and you were even talking about, and this is what irritated me, because he went hard. He was like, "Oh, I want y'all to even go more explicit. Yeah, let's really push the envelope." He was for it. He was the one that pushed for the sex scenes to be way more explicit. But then, when it came time to shoot the movie, all of a sudden, he got cold feet. Girl, bye. First of all, Daniel Craig out here probably going pussy. Because, Daniel Craig got that movie called Queer coming out. That's getting a lot of rave reviews, and the gay blogs and everybody's been talking about it. Especially, it wasn't that long ago, the nude scenes from the movie with Omar Apollo leaked online. I don't think they still there. But, yeah, Omar Apollo plays one of his lovers in the film, and it leaked. Also, the other actor that's in the movie with him. So that to me seems like everybody's more hyped for that film. And to me, it seemed like this film, it may be coincidental or whatever. It's kind of similar in situations in regards of the overall theme. So they also said that since that fateful day, Haynes' project has presumably been shelved. Which I don't understand why. I'm like, you could always replace it with an actor. You do it all the time. However, in a recent interview with Variety, Ramirez's Top Gun Maverick co-star Pullman recently expressed an interest in stepping into Phoenix's abandoned role. Here's the weird part. I don't even remember Lewis Pullman being in that movie. Maybe I need to watch it again. And I watched Top Gun Maverick twice. Maybe it was because I seen all that Tom Cruise up in that damn film. I forgot half the people that was in it. But then again, also in Top Gun Maverick, there was people that was in the film that said that they had a lot of lines and scenes in the film and it was cut. So I don't know. I may have to watch again. Then maybe I will notice Lewis Pullman. So they also said that he said, "I would love to get that call. It's a brilliant idea. I'm here. I'm ready." Oh, let me find out you wanna do a gay movie. Maybe he thinks he's gonna get an Oscar for playing that part, because you know how they love giving out Oscars to straight people for being so brave for playing a homosexual on camera. Now, in the same interview, Pullman revealed that the Look Both Ways actor helped him prepare for his lead role in Max's new adaptation of Stephen King's Salem's Lot, saying, "He taught me this great thing, a way to break down the arc of the character with all these note cards. So I did it because I wanted to really track basically how Ben's journey into believing in something crazy like vampires. I was like, okay, I really want to do this right, where he's like, there's no way vampires are actually real. And then it's like, he sees this, he hears this, he witnessed this, and the compiling that arc. Well, I don't think we got all that from the movie, because the movie felt like it was a lot missing based off of when we saw the final cut. Because yeah, those edits was very apparent that it seemed like a lot was cut from the movie. And this is why I said the one thing I don't like, Salem's Lot wasn't a bad movie, but it wasn't a good movie either. It was okay. But to me, I felt like Salem's Lot would have fared better if it was given, even if you're not going to do like a 3-hour movie or whatever the case is, if you would have given it more of an Andy Muschietti, It Chapter 1 and 2 type of vibe, if you're going to throw it straight on streaming or whatever, like you could have given us those things. You could have turned it into like a one big episodic thing, or you could have turned it into a 2-parter. Similar, like I said, like a movie of the week, but of course on a movie theater type level. And you could have did it like what they did with It. And I think people would have really liked it, because when you take on certain topics regarding a Stephen King novel and you transform it into a film, depending on the subject matter, you can do Stephen King Sleepwalker, Silver Bullet, Carrie, all that stuff. Those you don't need a long-winded situation with those. But if you're going to take on the Langoliers, Tommy Knockers, or even, like I said, like this movie, Salem's Lot, you need to that requires like you really have to spend a lot of time in that world. You could have given us a lot more vampires. You could have, I mean, there was a lot of vampires going on, no shade, but in regards to like the characters, we really need to get invested in those characters so that way the payoff would have been so much more sweeter. And I feel like that's what was missing from that movie. Now, in regards to this film, I would have liked to have seen I would like to see this movie get remade. I don't feel like that it should just be shelved because Joaquin Phoenix doesn't want to do it. So I feel like it still could happen. And Lewis Pullman, if he's up for the job, no shade, but I would rather see Lewis Pullman having explicit sex scenes with Danny Ramirez versus Joaquin Phoenix. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love River and I like Joaquin Phoenix as the actor, but seeing him hunching another man, it's like that ain't something I want to see on camera. So I say all this to say, what do y'all think of this story? Would y'all like to actually see Lewis Pullman get this thing revived? Like, I feel like we've entertained this story before, but I've said like I don't think this thing should be just thrown away. I do feel like this, if it's a good script, if it's got a good story, if you have some actors that are game to want to make this movie and have no problem doing same-sex scenes, then why not make it happen? So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. Child, you said Jason Lee is such an attention-seeking man who I can't stand him or what he stands for. He wanted to run for office. Child, that's why I had to laugh. I'm like, ain't nobody voting for you. Child, you can't even get into you can't even hang with the elites like Beyonce and them. So what makes you think somebody gonna vote for your ass in California? And it seemed like a lot of your friendships stand on blackmail. And plus, ain't nobody sitting up here taking you seriously with your award show. I don't know what that was. Child, I would rather watch and there's no shade to y'all. I would rather watch the People's Choice Awards. I would rather watch the Chainsaw Awards that just came out yesterday. And I will watch it because I'm a horror movie fan over on Shudder before I watch his award show on Lemmy Network. Zeus, because that's the only place that's going to play it. What are these contracts like if you can just pull out like that, a musician? That's why I said too, I wonder if he was sued, because I did ask that question when we first talked about him pulling out, because I'm like, wait a minute, so you came up with the idea, you came to Todd Haynes regarding the script, you have autonomy, like you came up with the with some of the stuff, you have story credit with these other two people that helped you take your ideas and put them to the page, pen to paper from the memory, and had it written. And came with everything. So they worked on this movie around your idea. And I don't think this has been a great idea for you to, especially when you are part of one of the worst sequels of all time. Especially when it dropping at 81% in its second week. Joker 2, Foley I Do. So after this flopping, I think you need to reconsider and get back to making this damn movie. So yeah, I just feel like this movie needs to be made. If it's a good script, if there's a story there, but I don't know. I guess maybe with the producers, they probably came on board just because of Joaquin Phoenix's name. But it's like, is Joaquin Phoenix a box office draw? Like, I know that was a luck of the draw with Joker making $1 billion, but I don't think Joaquin Phoenix is a box office draw. I know he's like one of those I'm serious actors or whatever, but I don't think his movies make bank. Napoleon flopped at the box office. Foley I Do flopped at the box office. So I don't think Joaquin is a respected actor, but he is not a box office draw. And I'm not saying this movie is going to be a box office draw, but if you put, no shade, hotter, younger guys in this film, I think it would draw like that, like similar to Brokeback Mountain. I feel like it could be the Brokeback Mountain of 2025 or 2026 or whenever y'all plan on dropping the movie. So I do feel like if there's a good story there, revisit it. And after that Joker sequel flop, Joaquin probably regrets it. Probably. Yes, it is Bill Pullman's son. That is his son. That's why I made the Nepo baby comment. He said, I saw Anthony Fantano say that the Joker movie is a dig at incel culture, alpha male culture, and the hardcore Joker stands in the first movie. Well, it feels like that the director created a monster, Todd Phillips, hated the fact that people resonated with the monster and just tried to destroy the monster with his sequel. I feel like that's my overall assessment of Joker 2. So if y'all talking about insult culture and going in on the alpha males, take it up with Todd, because he didn't like that y'all were resonating with the Joker. He was like, the Joker's a bad person. But I was like, yeah, you had these great ideas. You were just terrible at executing said ideas for people to understand what the hell you was getting at. So yeah, there's that. But anyway. Okay, so we are done with today's show, y'all. Thank you all for tuning in for this latest episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered. If you have not already, please hit that like button and the subscribe button. Also, be sure to smash that notification button so that way you know when we go live with a brand new episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered. I want to definitely thank all of y'all who are tuning in, that were commenting, all the things of that nature. I will be on tomorrow and give you all a show. Oh wait, I see another comment. Oh. You said Anthony Fantano dissed Kylie Minogue tension and he got upset. We told him Kylie Minogue isn't made for heterosexual. Who the hell is Anthony Fantano? I don't even know who that is. Hold on. Is this some Oh, him. Oh, yeah, I know him. I just didn't know his name. I was like, I know his name. Ooh, come on, Reed. You say he ain't hetero. Well, he don't give hetero teas. Quiet as it's kept. But, why does it look like he had the Francois Sagat situation done on his head, where it's like his hair looked like a tattoo? Well, look, he married to somebody named Dominique Boxley, and he's 38 years old. Who knew? Born in 1985. But wait, he was out here throwing shade at you talking about the Joker movie? Or does he do movies? So I only know him from doing music. I guess maybe he does do movies and things. And you said that, the Joker movie was insult culture. You said he dissed Kylie Minogue's tension. Well, it's like, yeah, first of all, Kylie Minogue is made for a specific audience. I mean, if the straights want to come along and padam along with us, then y'all can. But for the most part, Kylie is for the gays and the girls, the women who love her and the gays. That's who she's for. That's her base, and that's what she's always, for the most part, catered her music to. Which is why I guess a lot of people had an issue, especially in America, on how to market her, because her aesthetic always teetered a bit on camp, which is more accessible. Or not accessible, well, accessible and acceptable overseas. And in the UK and stuff, y'all, they're open to all different genres and types of music, and they live for the camp. The Australians, the Europeans, they all live for camp. Y'all don't be all uptight like we are over here when it comes to sex and things. So, her being on, but in America, it was like the American market had an issue marketing her. But it's like, well, if y'all don't know what to do with her, we'll tell you, we'll show you. And that's why she's having this resurgence again. Because the people in the industry, it just clearly goes to show they don't know what the hell they're doing. But anyway, so yeah, there's that. And let me get up off here. Love you all for watching. I'll be back tomorrow. And Izzy? Is this some tea I need to... I'm finding this out. I'm like, I didn't know Anthony Fantano was a bisexual. I'm like, this is new tea to me. Maybe I need to start watching him more. But anyway, let me stop being a whore and let me get up off here. So love y'all all for watching. And until next time, ciao, darlings.